What's up? What's up? What's up? Wake up, wake up, wake up. So I'm trying to be a little bit more humane today because I kind of blew out the speakers on the last time that I was here. I got so excited to be here with you guys on the Way Too Early for Friday podcast that I actually blew out the speakers, and I reached out to someone for some feedback, and they said, "Man, that's way too loud. Your microphone cannot handle it." So I am more powerful than the microphone, and I accept that. But I am John Greaves III, nevertheless, and today we are here for the Way Too Early for Friday podcast. My energy levels have not subsided, although my decibel levels have gone down a little bit. So once again, I appreciate you guys being here. And no matter where you're watching from, whether you're watching from Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook, thank you so much for being here. I am super excited to see every one of you guys here in the chat. I already got comments in the chat. Before we do anything else, please hit that like for me, hit that like button for me. And then if you haven't subscribed yet, do me a favor and subscribe. Help me hit my goal of 50,000 subscribers. We're getting closer. This train's picking up momentum. But go ahead, hit that subscribe button for me if you haven't. And if you have subscribed, please share the video with somebody who you know might enjoy this content, because that way I can get to where I need to go. All right. So before we jump into today's show and rundown, what I want you guys to do, and we're going to start doing this now, is I want you guys to drop a comment in the chat and tell me what your workout for the day is going to be. So let me know what you're working out. So today mine is going to be a little bit condensed because I wasn't able to train yesterday. We've been going through some stuff trying to put together a piece of equipment that we are going to be doing a product review on. So it took a little bit longer than anticipated in any case. So what I'm going to have to do is compress my workout session. My press day was yesterday, so I'm going to press and deadlift today, which is fine. I mean, that's what happens. So that's what I'm doing today. What I want to know is, what are you guys doing today in your workout for today? Let's see now. Let's go ahead and jump into what's on today's show. Super excited because, of course, we got the Friday dance party, and then we also have my guy Kaevon Khoozani from Bells of Steel. He's going to be joining us at around the 6:05, 6:07 hour. Then we have we're going to have our news segments where I tell you about stuff that's come across my radar. I am a subscriber to several news wire services because I've got like a media pass and everything else. So I'm a subscriber to several newswire services. So I'm going to tell you about the stuff that you probably didn't see on Instagram, but it's still important for you to know as a home gym owner and as a someone who's into fitness in general. And then coming up at 8:05, my guy Ashton from Freedom Fitness Equipment is going to be joining us. He's going to be telling us all about what's going on in the world of fitness equipment. He's going to tell us his picks for the best and worst pieces of fitness equipment in his opinion. And then we've got, of course, your home gym workout tips. And then at the 9 o'clock hour, 9 o'clock Eastern time, which would be 8 o'clock Central for you guys, we have Highland Games world champion Jarvina Routt is going to be joining us. So she's going to be talking to me about Highland Games, especially Highland Games as a woman, which is one of the things that's growing extremely fast. So it's going to be a privilege to hang out with Jarvina and talk to her for a little bit. So let's go ahead and jump into the chat real quick. I'm going to give a shout out to my guy Carlos, aka Charlie B. He said he's in the park. He's on his way back to catch the rest of the show on his PC today. Looks like he's got push-ups, sit-ups, and running in place. All right. He's at already. Look, it's 5 a.m. and Charlie is already at 7,000 steps and counting. Okay. So all I'm saying is, what are you doing with your life? Charlie has been hitting his step goals, and he is already at 7,000 steps. I personally get about 15,000 steps a day because I've been trying to ramp up my step count, but man, that is awesome. So without further ado, though, you guys don't want to hear me talking all day. You want to jump right into, we don't need that voice going. We're going to jump right into the Friday dance party. And that is one of my favorite segments. So we do not want to miss out on that. Here we go. Friday dance party coming right up. Let's go.
Let me tell you about a girl who know she is my baby and she lives next door. Every morning before the sun comes up, she brings my coffee in my favorite cup. That's why I know, yes I know, hallelujah, I just love her so. When I'm in trouble and I have no friend, I know she'll go with me until the end. Everybody asks me how I know.
You're not gonna do that, did you?
I smile at them and say she told me so. That's why I know, oh I know, hallelujah, I just love her so.
Let's play that again, man. That was just so much fun. We had Coach Carp's kids. That's them right there. Coach Carp's kids, if you're watching, Coach Eric Carpenter, his kids jumped into the dance video. He submitted a video to me of his kids dance, and I just thought, I love how kids are just so, like, they're unconscious. You know what I mean? Like, they just get out there and have fun. That's awesome. Let's check it out.
Let me tell you about a girl who know she is my baby and she lives next door. Every morning before the sun comes up, she brings my coffee in my favorite cup. That's why I know, yes I know, hallelujah, I just love her so. When I'm in trouble and I have no friend, I know she'll go with me until the end. Everybody asks me how I know. I smile at them and say she told me so. That's why I know, oh I know, hallelujah, I just love her so.
I just realized I had my mic muted. That was extremely awesome. Anyway, so let me go back. First of all, if you guys didn't hear what I said, I apologize. But Freedom Fitness Equipment sponsors the Friday dance party, including all that awesome stuff that we saw from Coach Carp and at Zumba_Malay 911_Japan. She's a Zumba instructor, and so I appreciate her being a part of it. We need to get you guys into the dance party, getting more people jumping into the dance party, tagging at Garage Gym Life on Instagram, because that is how you can participate in the dance party. So make sure you tag at Garage Gym Life on Instagram to have your home gym dance party video featured. Okay, next, the next thing I want to tell you is these dance party videos are made possible because Freedom Fitness Equipment sponsors us. But the only way that we can actually make it work is by having a licensing service, because if you just take music, like we had the great Ray Charles as the soundtrack for the dance party today, the only way that you can actually make that work is you have a licensing service. And so, Hallelujah, I Love Her So by the legendary, let me say that again, the legendary Ray Charles is licensed from Lickd. That's Lickd. And that is the biggest mainstream stock music platform. There's some other ones that you may have heard of, and they only have music, to put it nicely, music you never heard of before. And that doesn't mean it's bad music. Okay, this is stuff made by independent artists. It's the equivalent of soundtracks. But Licked allows you to get music that you've heard of, music you'll recognize from the radio, and you can use that music as the soundtrack for your videos on the soundtrack for your videos on YouTube. And so shout out to everybody in the chat who posted, letting me know that you guys couldn't hear me. I had muted my mic. I'm not really sure why I muted my mic, but I did. So it's unmuted now. Anyway, so if you happen to be watching this and you are a content creator and you're interested in getting some licensed music for your whatever you're doing for your videos on YouTube, your videos on Facebook, wherever, all you gotta do is hit up Licked. I've got the link for you to check it out in the description for the video, and you can try it for free. Get 14 days of unlimited stock music, and then you also get 50% off of your first mainstream track. So like I said, that link is in the video description, and that is a good way for you to kind of set your videos apart from some of the other videos that people will see on social media. And remember, once again, tag at Garage Gym Life in the Home Gym Dance videos, because I don't like having dance party videos where there's only like 3 people on there. In fact, I would love it if I'm not even on there. It's not that I mind doing it, but I want to put the focus on you guys. So while we wait for Kaevon to join us, I just sent him the link again. It's kind of early for him, but I sent him the link again, so we make sure that he joins us. But let's go ahead, and while we wait for him, we're going to go ahead and we'll just slide. You got to be able to be flexible, right? And we're going to slide into the next segment. All right. And here we go. And this time for news and other things. All right, so news and other things. All right, and this is where I basically just tell you about all the stuff that has come across my radar. All right, and and there's a bunch of it. There is a bunch of it. First of all, have you tried strapless rowing? Okay. First of all, get your minds out the gutter. Strapless rowing. So what it is basically you get a rowing machine, right? And I've actually got 2 different rowing machines now. You'll be seeing a product video. You'll be seeing a video review for one of them. I've got an Ergata rower. That's a water rower. And I've got a Concept 2 that I've had for a little while. So you're going to be seeing a product review on the Ergata water rower on the on here on this channel. But what you do is, so normally you get on a rowing machine, you stick your feet in the straps, and you tighten the straps, right? You start rowing. Well, I picked up a tip last weekend from my guy John at Row Along Workouts, and let me see if I can't show you guys. Let me go ahead and I'll share the screen with you guys in a second so you can see it. Check out his channel. But John at Row Along Workouts was talking about strapless rowing, and that's basically where you get on the rowing machine, but you don't strap your feet in. And the reason why you do that is because it helps you refine your technique. Because too many people who use a rowing machine, me included, treat a rowing machine like you're doing a bent over row. And what you actually need to do is treat your rowing machine like you're doing a deadlift, which is why I like to use my rowing machine the day after I deadlift, because it hammers that movement pattern in, and it gets it back. It gets you back. Stops you from being stiff. Let's just put it like that. So rather than walking around like somebody kicked you in the back or hit you with a hammer several times with in the back, you can use the rowing machine to, just none of this high stress craziness, but use a rowing machine to get your body back loose again if you've had a really tough deadlift session. So the thing with strapless rowing is, if you go out of control and your technique falls apart, you'll fall off the rowing machine. So it's a really great, simple to understand technique that improves how you perform on the rowing machine. It improves how you perform on an implement. And the thing that people don't think about, especially if they are in a sport like CrossFit, where rowing for short, intense intervals is part of the sport, they don't pay attention to their technique, because you can get away with just getting on there and becoming a barbarian for, I don't know, for 500 meters. That's not really far. But what they don't think about is if your technique improves, your speed may not improve. You may end up going the same speed, but you improve your efficiency, which means you have more left in the tank for the next thing that you have to do. Because CrossFit competitions are basically a series of different basically complexes. So you do this thing, then you jump off and you go do this other thing, and then you go do this other thing, and maybe you go back to the first thing and you keep on doing it, right? So the more efficient you are at each thing, the better you'll do. And then for somebody who's using rowing for just general fitness like me, the more efficient you are, the longer you can go, which means you're actually going to be in the fat burning zone longer, because the harder any task is, pay attention, the harder any task is that you're doing, any repetitive task is that you're doing, the less likely it is to burn calories and burn fat. The harder it is, the more likely it is for you to build muscle, which in a roundabout way will burn fat, but it's not going to burn fat immediately. So the beauty of something like strapless rowing or any other technique that improves your technique, that improves your performance. So you can go get a running coach, and the running coach is going to improve your step pattern, your gait pattern, so that it's easier for you to run. All right. So running is now easier, which means you're in the fat burning zone longer, so you can run without effort. Whereas if you're just sprinting like a dog is chasing you, yes, you're going to burn some fat, but you're more likely to build muscle, which is never bad. I'm not against building muscle, but it's also going to eat into your recovery ability, which means it's going to be more difficult for you to get back in the gym again, because your workouts are above the 80% mark too much. So anyway, try strapless rowing if you have not tried it. Like I said, I got the idea from my guy, John, who's over at Row Along Workouts. And let me go ahead and show you guys his. So this is his channel on YouTube. He's got 24,000 subscribers. He's got a really, really great channel. He's got videos on rowing technique, got videos where he just does a row along, which I do as well, where he'll do a thing where he just row along with him at the same time, and you get to check out some of the environments in the rowing app that he's using, which is Xer. But he's got a bunch of stuff you guys can see. He covers the different like he's got a video on how to connect your Apple Watch to your Concept 2. There's just a whole bunch of stuff. Like this one looks really cool. He's got a 10-minute rowing adventure in space. So he's rowing in space. So that's the kind of stuff that that I think is really interesting to do. And I think you guys will really, really enjoy it. All right. Then next up here, let's see here. All right. Still waiting for Kaevon. So we're going to go ahead and move into the next topic. All right. So the next topic we have in news and other things is, this one got me. It kind of caught me off guard, but I saw it on PR Newswire, and I saw it on PR Newswire earlier this week, even though it's been on there since February 28th, but I just now saw it. Anyway, Gatorade is selling unflavored water. Okay, I'm not sure how this is gonna go, because the whole point of Gatorade is that it's got flavor. So most people who drink Gatorade are drinking it to kind of stay hydrated, and then of course Gatorade has sodium. I don't know who these people are, but apparently they're called the Les Twins, but apparently they're into unflavored water in a big way. So Gatorade is going to be launching. They are launching unflavored water. So the unflavored water is it's going to be very alkaline. Well, not very, that sounds bad. It's going to be alkaline, right? Which is going to give you a pH of 7.5 or higher, but they're still going to infuse electrolytes into it. So it's going to have a crisp taste. So basically this is alkaline water, which I've tried. I knew somebody's going to ask me, isn't unflavored water just water? So yes and no, because I would say that unflavored alkaline water, like what Gatorade is selling, is probably closer to spring water. And the thing that I don't want to be one of those people that's kind of like the voice of doom and whatever, but if you drink too much mineral water, you can actually mess with your mineral content. You get your mineral levels in your body can actually be too high. Okay. So but then again, there are thousands of people well, actually, there are probably billions of people. Yeah, there have been billions of people around the globe for multiple thousands of years who have been drinking water from springs and they were just fine. Okay. So I don't want, let's not get carried away with the, mineral content in water can make it isn't good for you. But all I'm saying is what they do with it is they make the water more alkaline, and that helps you with your endurance because without turning back into a high school chemistry class, the longer you're exercising, the more you build up lactic acid in your blood and in your bloodstream. So that starts to interfere with the performance of the sodium potassium pump. And you got to have something like pyruvate, which is a base, which then binds with the lactic acid and allows your muscles to keep on contracting. So what a lot of people like to do is they'll, like, the old school nasty way to do it is to just eat baking soda, right? But as Ashley Hromiak, who's going to be back on March 29th to answer more questions, but as Ashley Hromiak was telling me in her last Q&A session, that can also be rough on the stomach. So what Gatorade and other companies like it are doing is they're making water that has more alkalinity. So if you drink it, the idea is that it allows you to train at a certain level for longer and potentially avoid cramps. What I don't know is when Gatorade first came out, it was too salty. And so they started flavoring it because if you're actually drinking water with the sodium you need, that will help you keep on training longer. It's actually going to be like drinking like seawater, which ain't good for you. That's definitely not good for you. All right. You can actually die of thirst drinking seawater. So what I don't know about is what this is going to taste like. Okay. I have drunk alkaline water before. My mom always gets it for me. Shout out to my mom. She is watching. So mind your mouth. Don't make sure you don't say anything crazy. My mom is watching. But my mom always gets me alkaline water, and I actually got into it because I forgot his nickname was Captain America. He was you guys in the chat, if you remember, he was an MMA fighter, nicknamed Captain America, and he was the oldest fighter for a little bit. Oh God, I can't believe I forgot his name. Randy Couture. Yeah. So Randy Couture, I had to look it up. I couldn't let that stand. So Randy Couture used to do a lot of things to keep his blood alkalinity high. He ate alkaline foods and things like that because endurance was one way that he was able to keep up with the younger fighters. All right. Now let's go into the next item on our rundown. This one, I know this one's going to make you sit up and pay attention. Okay. Apparently, and this caught me off guard too. This is not something I figured that you can anticipate. Apparently, the global yoga mat market is growing. That's right. If anybody needs a minute to recover from this information, the global yoga mat market is growing, and it's growing faster than people anticipated. Yeah, so I got this one from EIN Presswire, and they said, according to business research company's Yoga Mat Global Market Report for 2024, the market forecast, this is a market forecast, the yoga mat market size is predicted to reach 18.23 billion. That's billion with a B, okay, by 2028. All right, 2028 at a compound annual growth rate of 8.1%. So basically, the yoga mat market internationally is growing at a compound rate of just under 10%. And the reason why this matters is not only is this maybe something you could look into if you're looking into your stock investments or something, but it affects multiple categories of industry. So just what goes into a yoga mat. And they were very helpful, and they told us, because I certainly did not know. So a yoga mat has natural rubber in it. It's got polyvinyl chloride, polyurethane, thermoplastic, elastomer. CBS True Consumer Reviews. You're a techie, so I know you got some thermoplastic elastomer sitting around the house. And then it's got some other stuff in it. So that's multiple industries that are affected by the yoga mat market, which means people with jobs. Okay, so that's a big deal there. And then it affects e-commerce, which is how people like me are able to sell t-shirts and whatnot. Well, the t-shirts like the one I'm wearing. Shout out to rebelforceradio.com. It's one of my favorite Star Wars podcasts and YouTube channels. And I ordered this from their Spreadshirt last week. Feels good. Quick little review. They're not paying me for it, but I ordered it from their Spreadshirt. Feels good. I'm actually gonna work out in it later on today, because if I can't wear it while I'm deadlifting, what's the point of having it in my wardrobe? But anyway, so people, e-commerce is affected by this, because a lot of the times if you're buying stuff for your home gym or wherever, it's going to be online. So that's a big deal. So yeah, I don't know. Is there a difference between a workout mat and a yoga mat? That's an excellent question, Jared. And the answer is yes. A workout mat tends to be a little bit more abrasive. So, because you think about it, a workout mat is not necessarily something that you may lay down on. Yeah, you might, but it's not built. For a workout mat, what you want is if you drop dumbbells on it. I know you're not referring to stall mats. You already know what like fitness flooring is, but for everybody watching who may not and tuning in who may not know, so you've got stall mats, which are a certain thickness, and you got fitness flooring, which is slightly thinner than stall mats, but it's essentially the same material. And the purpose of that is to protect your floor and your equipment in case you drop a dumbbell or you drop a barbell or something like that. Then you got workout mats, which are a little bit more cushiony, and they are designed more for comfort. And then you got a yoga mat, which is even more comfortable, and it's also designed to be rolled up and taken with you. Whereas you're probably not going to be walking around with a rolled up workout mat. You may, but you're not necessarily walking around with a rolled up workout mat, taking it to and from a public gym or the yoga studio or whatever. Yoga mats are a lot of times have a different texture on the top because they're designed for you to lay on it in what is probably a fairly uncomfortable position in the beginning, and that is supposed to keep you, it makes it more comfortable to do something that's already uncomfortable, if that makes sense. All right. Wardrobe. I knew one of y'all was gonna talk junk about me saying wardrobe. Look, y'all know I got the pre-workout flowing, right? So sometimes my voice is going and my mouth is moving before my brain catches up to it. It's not so bad that I say something crazy, but it is bad enough that I may say a word the wrong way. All right. Just for that, I'm gonna take a drink right in front of you. Got me some of that G-Code Vice, that cool, refreshing drink. All right, so now another thing that came across my my radar, and this one came across my radar 2 days ago, I think, and that was that you can use your health savings account now to buy exercise products from Exponent Edge. So I am a big fan of this, and I'm going to let you guys check it out. They posted this on Instagram. You can check them out at Exponent Edge on Instagram. But let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. Boom, right there. All right, so this is the Exponent Edge Instagram. And so basically you can use your funds to get certain purchases. And I have tried that. So all you got to do is you go onto Exponent Edge, pick out the thing you want, whether it's the Infinity Bench or whatever, and then you add it to the shop, add it to your cart. And then what you have to do is check out as a guest. So whether you have an account there or not, you want to check out as a guest. And then you'll have the option to select a company called TrueMed as your payment option at checkout. Once you do that, you're going to enter your health savings account or your FSA, family savings account, debit card information, and you'll have to take a quick health survey, and it will determine whether you're eligible. So don't think that you can just go buy this bench, with your health savings account funds, and you're kind of skating on the IRS. All right, you have to be eligible, but this is an option to use pre-tax dollars for something that you would normally have to spend money out of pocket on. So I will say, while I am a fan and I am a proponent of spending your pre-tax dollars your health savings account money on exercise equipment, because the idea is to use it to stay healthy. I do not advocate doing that like at the beginning of the year or whenever a product drops. Instead, when I do it when I get to the end of the year, and you find out that you've got extra money in that account, and you're gonna lose it because it carries over into the next calendar year for a little bit, but it's not gonna go, it's not indefinite, right? It doesn't just keep on combining. So what you want to do, what I do is when I get to that point, that's when I go looking for stuff that I can spend it on, because by that time I've done all my doctor visits, I've done all the stuff I need to do, I got my annual checkup, all that kind of stuff is done. So maybe you've been really healthy that year and you didn't really need to do anything. You didn't have to go to the the urgent care or whatever because you got sick. So now you got extra money laying around in that health savings account. That's when I would go and look into getting stuff like that, because again, you don't want to end up in a situation where you need money for your kids' braces, but you can't because you spent it on an infinity bench. That's great for the home gym, not so good for the family's well-being. So don't do that. Don't do that. All right. And then let's see, we got a couple more news items here. I don't know if y'all are ready for this. I really don't know if y'all are ready for this, but how can you ever be ready if I don't let you get ready? So here we go. I want you to brace yourselves for something you have never seen before. It's time for our next segment, the Recliner of Rage. It's the Recliner of Rage.
It's the Recliner of Rage, 'cause he's not happy.
And that was the Recliner of Rage. Tell me what y'all think of the new intro. Shout out to the guys from the worship team from Activation Church, where I am a member. I've been a member for several years now. And we actually run the live stream for them. So if you want to hear some good preaching that's fun, you can go ahead and check it out. In fact, I'll put the link to the next live stream, sermon live stream, in the description for this video so you guys can check it out. But my wife and I have been running their live stream for quite some time. And anyway, so I hit up the worship team and I say, hey, I need you guys to be my backup singers for something that is frankly kind of ludicrous. And they're like, heck yeah, let's do it. So everybody you saw in that video is actually a home gym owner. So it was easy for me to talk them into doing it. Anyway, this week's Recliner of Rage is brought to you by the fact that UPS does not care about my home gym equipment. I'm trying to calm down. I said I'm going to walk a different path. I'm trying to be a better person. But I'm in the Recliner of Rage, and I'm not happy. UPS does not care about the stuff that I order. Now, this could be a little bit of what goes around comes around, because I used to work at UPS. And when I worked at UPS, this is back in 1991, I'd say. I was a young lad of 18, and it was in the spring of 91. So I'm working at UPS, and I was working I believe it was the 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. shift. Yeah, because it was a 4-hour shift. And I remember we used to do some horrible things to your packages. So if you shipped UPS in spring 91, I apologize. I'm just going to go ahead and apologize now. So the thing you got to understand is when you work at a hub location or as an loader, especially as an unloader, you never get a break, because I just told you the shift is only like 4 hours long. So they're not going to give you a break. The only break you get is if you get the truck you're working on unloaded before the next truck shows up, right? So the first thing you do as an unloader is you open up those bay doors, and you're supposed to unload it from the top. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, that wasn't happening. Instead, you pull from the bottom because you try to get everything to just kind of, the whole pile to just avalanche down onto the belts, right? Because there's a conveyor belt. And stuff falls off, but you jump down and you pick it up, put it back on the belt, but the belt's already moving. So, you know, the law of statistics says that some of the stuff that you just pull down is going to end up on the belt. So it's all while you're picking up stuff off the floor, you've already got stuff on the belt and the belt's moving, right? So I freely admit to mishandling packages, okay? So I admit this could be karma, but I don't care about none of that because I'm telling you, UPS delivered some stuff I had just ordered. They deliver stuff to my house, and my wife works from home, so she sees these people unloading stuff, right? She sees them. It's like she's like Santa Claus in a way. She sees you when you're struggling. She sees you if you're strong. So she sees these people coming off the truck, and sometimes they're in a hurry. I get it because they're, you know, they got a certain time hack to make on getting their route done, but I don't care. And she said she's seen these people like just throw stuff off the back of the truck. And I get it. I've been ordering, you know, I've been having stuff delivered to the house. It's weight equipment for quite some time. So now they're kind of used to it. In fact, sometimes you see the delivery guy put on a belt before he gets off when he gets to my house because he knows he may have to unload something heavy, you know. But the reality is there's no excuse to be throwing my stuff off of the back of the truck, man. I got this stuff in and it was so bent. So it was something that's just I get rack attachments in, and the little strap that goes around the back to hold it onto the rack was so bent, it wasn't even 90 degrees anymore. It was so bent that I couldn't get it onto the rack. Now, what am I supposed to do? Because I order something, it comes in, it's bent. Natural reaction is you reach out to the brand, hey man, you sent me something bent. It's not their fault. And what are they going to do anyway? They're going to send you a new one, right? They send you, and so if they send you a new one, a lot of times they want you to send the old one back, which is fair. So if I send them the old one back, because to be honest with you, if it's damaged beyond use, then I don't need it. So I'm happy to send it back. So I send it back to them, but now I'm without the thing that I wanted to use. So I send it back to them. They're going to send me another one, right? Well, guess who's probably delivering it? UPS. So now they get another crack at ruining my life. Maybe ruining my life is a little bit extreme, but they get another crack at ruining a product that I had planned on using. That makes me, that's what's got me in the recliner rage. And I understand it's not necessarily just UPS. I got a friend who says FedEx has no idea how to find his location, despite the fact that he's got a business location and they've been coming there for years. You would think that somebody would say, hey, you're a new driver. If you go to this location, here are some notes. Like, look, straight up. When I order DoorDash, there's a mechanism for me to tell the driver, hey, when you get here, this is how to get the food to me. You know, I can tell you, hey, put it down outside the fence, put it down come to the garage door, go ahead, come through the gate, come up to the steps, and that depends on whether or not my dog is out, okay? I'm humane, okay? I'm not gonna let you go inside my fence with my dog there because then I just DoorDash you to my dog. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. But I'm saying DoorDash does it. So you would think that FedEx would say, or UPS would say, hey, this is how to get to this person's location. You're delivering to this address. Here's how you do it. Or just as good, you have an experienced driver with an inexperienced driver. And, you know, the first few times they go through the route, they're like, hey, yeah, so I've been to this location a bunch of times. This is how you do it. There's no excuse for a shipping company whose only job is to get the stuff that you ordered to you. That's literally their only purpose in life. That's their only function. That's their only reason for existing, is to get you the stuff that you purchased in an undamaged manner, to get it to you and put it in your hands in a way that in condition so that you can actually use the thing. And these people at this company are bending my... Do you know how hard it is to bend weights? I mean, I know we do it, you know, with mishandling. Sometimes you might bend a bar or something like that in deadlifting. But I mean, just in ordinary daily life use, can you imagine how, like, think about your rack attachments. Let's say, let's go with a J hook, right? You get a J hook, a sandwich J cup. Grab that thing. Can you imagine if it's metal? I know some of you guys get that plastic stuff. I ain't about that life. Think about how hard it is to bend that. How badly did you treat this thing for it to be bent? Because this most recent experience is not the first time I've gotten stuff damaged from UPS. UPS does not care. And that's got me in the recliner of rage. That's what's got me in the recliner of rage. What are you guys mad about? What's got you in the recliner of rage this week? Go ahead, put it in the comments. Let me know what makes you angry. And if you got a UPS, FedEx, I don't know, postal service story, because we're not leaving them out. They got some egregious sins on their ledger too. All right. If you have any story you want to share, go ahead, put it in the comments. And if you work for UPS, if you work for FedEx, if you work for the United States Postal Service, look, I'm not telling you I don't appreciate what you do, because I know you guys work hard each and every day. Who else? Wait a minute. I'm forgetting somebody. DHL. Sorry. Didn't mean to leave you out. Laser ship. Yeah, that's another one. All right. I think that's everybody. I didn't mean to leave anybody out. I understand that what you're doing is a tough job. As I said, I worked as an unloader at UPS for a few months. And then I moved. This is when I was in California. So I moved from where I was in Redding, California to Chattanooga, Tennessee. And they didn't transfer me. They said, well, you just have to apply for a new job, because I hadn't been there that long. They said, you just have to apply for a new job at UPS if you want to work there. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's just go ahead and part ways now. So that was the end of my UPS adventure. But I've done the job, so I kind of understand your situation. But I'm just telling you, I mean, come on, please, seriously. Can I live? Can I live? Can you stop throwing my packages off the truck? Can you stop throwing my packages off the truck? I'm counting my blessings. I'm counting my blessings. You actually got it to my house. You didn't take it to the neighbor. You didn't take it to some other address that's kind of like mine. So look, that's half the battle. Thank you. You brought it to my house. Step 1 complete. Phase 1 complete. But good God, can you not throw it off the dang truck? If it's too heavy for you, get your weight up. Get in the gym. My favorite FedEx dude is one of the most muscular people I've seen. I mean, for a normal size guy, right? He's not big in my frame of reference, but he's built like, you know, let's say a college wide receiver, NFL wide receiver, maybe a slot receiver or something like that. Real lean, not like a CrossFitter, but he looks like he lifts weights. I know, because I've talked to him, because I saw him. I said, oh, dang, dude. And then he actually wanted to come in and check out my home gym. And that was a lot of fun. He walks in, we check out the home gym. And that was, my sneaky way of making him help me carry stuff inside. But that's why I'm not revealing his name, because I ain't trying to get him in trouble. But he came in and we were talking about, and he works out in a public gym. But he looks like one of those guys that does like the calisthenics out in the park, right? He's built like that. And I'm like, what stops you from working out? Because it's your job, right? If you were in the NFL and your job required you to be big and strong, we'd expect you to lift weights. Well, you work at UPS. You're supposed to be big and strong because you got to be able to carry the packages. It's in the job description. Carry packages to door. Golly. I'm going to read y'all's comments for a second, because I'm getting work. It's starting to get hot. It's starting to get hot in here, because I really am mad about this. I cannot stand it. Jared Martin, shout out to Jared Martin in the comments. He says, I get annoyed when shipping takes too long. It took him over 2 weeks to get something from Bells of Steel from Canada, and it was UPS. Okay, let's talk about international shipping. I actually hadn't planned on bringing this up, Jared, but I'm going to bring it up because you said it. All right, let's scroll down here to another topic. Because I was talking about shipping. Look, I ordered something for St. Patrick's Day back in January. I order stuff ahead of time. I'm not a last minute dude. Okay. I'm nimble enough to, there's a phrase when I was in the Marine Corps. We called it Semper Gumby, right? So Semper Fidelis means always faithful. Semper Gumby means always flexible. Like, for example, I should be talking to Kaevon from Bells of Steel right now, but he's not here. So you see I flexed? See that? All right. No need for yoga class. I just flexed. Okay. So I'm flexible, but I like to plan ahead as much as possible. So I order stuff way in advance. So I ordered this thing on Instagram shopping from a company, and it was overseas company. So I was like, I don't know about this, but it's Instagram shopping. And I've used Instagram shopping before. So I said, okay, cool. Let me go ahead. I'll trust them again. And so I went ahead and I ordered this product. And it's just a pullover for St. Patrick's Day. Okay. So it's green. It's got the thing. It says Irish on it because I'm part Irish. It's a very small part, but I am part Irish, and I like to shout out my Irish heritage because the reason I'm part Irish is actually, it's a long story that I don't have time to tell here, but basically 2 people decided that they loved each other more than what society told them they should do. And this is back prior to the abolition of slavery, okay? So the reason I'm part Irish is because 2 people had the courage to love each other despite the fact that one was black and one was white, okay? So I shout out my Irish heritage as often as possible. Anyway, I ordered this thing. I'm looking forward to wearing it. I ordered it January 31st, and I still do not have it to this day. It is being shipped by the United States Postal Service, but it came from, not Finland. Wait a minute. Yeah, Finland. It came from Finland. And so it is actually here in America, so it's good. It took less time for it to clear customs than it is taking for this thing to get from St. Louis to my house here in Georgia. Now, somebody explain how that works. It took less time to get from Finland to America and then to clear customs, because, you know, anything that comes in, it's a package. They got to declare the package. They got to make sure I'm not smuggling, I don't know, people into the country or whatever. Some sort of illicit substance. So they check it, make sure it clears customs. Then they send it to a shipping hub, kind of like what I was talking about earlier. You send it to a shipping hub, and then it gets processed, and then it gets sent out to, it makes its way through the chain until, on trucks, most likely, until it gets to the shipping location that serves your neighborhood, and it comes to you. All right. Well, we're stuck somewhere in St. Louis right now. And I keep on checking the tracking, because last time I brought this up, somebody was like, oh, in a YouTube video, somebody says, oh, well, you can always check the tracking. Do you know what checking the tracking does for me when I don't have my stuff? It tells me somebody else still has it. That's what checking the tracking means. You check the tracking. Where's your package on the map? All right, I look at it. Boom. All right. Oh, there it is. Well, that's not where I live. That means somebody else got my stuff that I paid for. That's what checking the tracking means. So right now, my sweatshirt/sweater is somewhere between St. Louis and Georgia. And I tried to get these people. I said, you know what? It's been since January 31st. Today is March 15th. St. Patrick's Day is Sunday, and I still ain't got my stuff. Okay? I would accept it more if you hadn't shipped it yet, because I'm like, well, maybe they had to make it. Okay? Maybe they had to make the product. But to get to the United States of America and it still can't get to my house, it's stuck in St. Louis is in Missouri. I have driven from California to Georgia in less time in my personal car, in less time than it is taking for this package to get from halfway from the middle of the country to where I am in Georgia on the southern east coast of the United States. Come on, man. See, y'all got me back in the recliner rage. I was about to get up out the recliner rage. Jared put me back in the recliner rage. So if you're shipping it from Canada to the United States, which is what he said happened with his package, I understand it having to clear customs because it didn't get through the border. It's got to get through the border. I get that. But it is not acceptable for it to be in America and then still take a long time to get to you. And some of it is related to lack of employees. That is an issue too. So anytime there's a strike with, the truckers go on strike, boom, that's going to slow things down because now you got fewer people driving to deliver your packages. Anytime UPS, FedEx, the United States Postal Service, DHL, does DHL even go on strike? You never hear DHL in the news. But let's say they went on strike. I'm sure they can go on strike at some point, I'm sure. Anytime that happens, or Laser Ship, which is one of those shipping subcontractors, anytime they go on strike or whatever happens, you're gonna have issues with you're gonna have issues with it's going to slow down the shipping process. And of course, there's Amazon. But Amazon, I didn't bring Amazon up because they're in a special category. Amazon gets stuff to the house too fast. I get suspicious when stuff gets from Amazon too fast. I know they have like fulfillment centers all over the place. Like there's one maybe 15 minutes from my house. I drive past it every day in my daily commute. But how could you? There's no way they just already have this random thing I decided I wanted at 2 a.m. How could they possibly already have it just sitting there? Like, oh, I bet you John's going to want one of these. He likes dish soap. He likes he likes shaving products. You just happen to have that? Come on, man. Like literally, it's like I order the junk, make breakfast, look outside, there's a knock on the door, here's the stuff. Hey, man. Because now I'm like, what are you doing? Are you monitoring my stuff, man? I know the AI is monitoring us, but why are you so fast? So I'm suspicious. Why is Amazon so quick? Everybody else, though, come on. There's no reason for you to take extremely long to get stuff to us. And when it gets to us, it should not be damaged. Let's see what else you guys have. Let's see. So my man Carlos said FedEx can't even find his apartment. Said FedEx can't find his apartment. He says UPS actually delivers to his job because they know that he gets a lot of tech. Because Carlos does product reviews and he's also a movie reviewer. And so you guys can be checking out his movie reviews. We actually have the first one that's going to be popping up. This is a movie review recommendation for movies you can watch while you are on the treadmill. Okay, and that's pretty you can't watch every movie on the treadmill. Like, for example, I ain't about to watch something with subtitles on the treadmill. I know some of y'all are into reading your TV screens for some reason. I ain't about that life. I don't want to read my TV. First of all, I wear glasses. Okay, I wear glasses. So I'm not wearing them now because I don't need them for what I'm doing right now. But I wear glasses, and if I'm on the treadmill, I'm going to sweat. So that doesn't go well with wearing glasses. So I need something to watch on the treadmill that doesn't require me to have to read the screen. So stop it. But he's going to give us some movie recommendations, and you're going to get the first one on Saturday at GarageGymLifeMedia.com. We're going to drop his first movie recommendation for watching when you're on the treadmill, kind of make those treadmill sessions a little bit better for you. But regardless, he has to get UPS to deliver his stuff to his job. Come on, man. He lives in an apartment complex. I understand, well, it's his job, and so the job is probably more well-known. The apartment complex has been there for a while, I'm sure. You telling me you can't find the apartment? Come on, man. Come on. Now, some apartment complexes have a gate to get through, and so that's a hassle. Like where my kids lived, they had a thing where you had a deposit pot. You had to drop your packages off. You couldn't take it to the apartment. You had to drop the packages off, and then they'd have to go pick it up from that location. So yeah, I know that. It's a little bit more of a hassle. But for them to not be able to find your location is unacceptable. Your entire job is getting stuff to people. Literally. That's like being a surgeon who doesn't do surgery. Or it's like being a surgeon who doesn't do surgery well. Let's say it like that, right? Because that's what they always say. Well, look at all the packages we do deliver. I'm like, okay, so let's say you were a surgeon and you kept on getting like, yeah, well, most of the time when he operates on people, they survive. But, occasionally they just don't make it. But don't judge him by the people who die in surgery. Judge him by the ones who live. Really? That's what we're going with? No, absolutely not. Carlos said Amazon makes him mad because they spoil him, right? He said, Amazon makes me mad because they spoil me. Then they hit me with your package is running late. I know. I hate getting those messages, but at least they tell you. That's why I like Amazon. And I know Amazon is tough on the actual brands because they require you. So just a little bit of inside baseball. When you become a brand that sells on Amazon, I've had multiple people who sell on Amazon. They said one thing Amazon requires you to do is you have to maintain a certain inventory with them. So if you're selling, like ice shakers on Amazon, right? So they have to have a certain number of units of each size of their ice shaker tumblers on Amazon, because when you place an order, Amazon doesn't want to have to go to ice shaker to get the product. They want to already have it. So they've got a fulfillment center, and each fulfillment center has a certain number of ice shaker tumblers because that's a high volume item, just for example. So if you're a small company, that's a little bit of pressure on you because you've got to maintain your inventory with Amazon. And if you don't, then you can run into trouble, especially if you want to take advantage of the Amazon Prime, because that's just, that's just how it goes. So I will say, though, at least they let you know. Freaking UPS, they love surprising you. Oh, well, it's fine. All these other carriers, they don't care. They're like, people like surprises. Let's surprise them. No, I don't want that sort of surprise. I do not want that sort of surprise. I want you to give me my stuff. Give me my stuff. Quick, fast, in a hurry when I ask you for it. Because, well, let's break it down to its most basic form. I ordered it because I need it. So if you take a long time with it, that doesn't stop me from needing it. It means I have to go without it longer. Give me my stuff. And don't throw it when you get here. I'm going to have to calm down. I literally am going to have to calm down. We're not drinking the pre-workout this time. So I would normally take a drink of pre-workout. We're not going to do that. Got some herbal tea. I'm going to drink that because I got to calm down. Because y'all don't understand how angry I am. I hate it when people don't do what they're supposed to do. Especially when someone else is depending on you. That's one of my pet peeves. And to me, it's disrespectful to me as a customer. All right. And yes, it affects things like that affect whether I purchase from you or use you again. But in the case of UPS, I don't have any control over that. All right. And let's go to the next segment. Here. Hold on. Recliner of Rage. I believe that was the last one in the Recliner of Rage. Yep. All right. So let's talk about the Power Rack project because I was talking about ordering stuff. I do have my monolift arms. I think I told you guys about it. My monolift arms from Crandall Fitness have arrived. But the thing is that they are my rack has 1-inch holes, and these arms have 5/8 pins. So I really wanted to use them too. I wanted to use these monolift arms. I used them just enough to set where they would go on the power rack, but I didn't feel comfortable because I was like, man, the little pin that goes through that's supposed to go into the holes in your power rack, the pin is 5/8, so it's kind of like rattling around, and I was like, man, I don't feel comfortable. I just don't feel safe. So what I did was order some rack adapters, and they are 5/8 rack adapters. I don't know if I told you guys this already. I don't believe I did, but let me share the screen because I got them on Etsy. Okay, so if you're listening and you're not able to see this, just tune back in. I'm gonna have some timestamps so you guys can jump to this part of the live stream later on. But these power rack adapters here are from a company called Mavericks Workshop on Etsy. And I keep on telling you guys that you're sleeping on Etsy. You guys are sleeping on Etsy. So you need to hit up Etsy because there's a bunch of little things for your home gym. So right here, let me see if I can expand this. All right, so right there, so you got these go into the holes on your power rack. These rack adapters go in the holes in your power rack, and they basically make the hole smaller. So your 5/8 pin can go through there, and you can use something that's a 5/8 product as long as it's for the same size rack. the post on your rack fit. So if you got something that's for a 2x2 rack with 5/8 holes, and you got a 3x3 rack with 1-inch holes like I do, these are not going to help you. But if it's for a 3x3 rack with 5/8 holes, then you can get these rack adapters, and I'll show you another picture of what they look like. Expand that, and they just slide right into the hole. All right, and you can use these to adapt your rack for whatever the item is. And as far as I know, unlike some rack adapter products, there's not a weight limit on these, because in effect, the pressure. So whenever there is a weight limit on some sort of rack adapter, it's because there's downward pressure on the product. But in this situation, the pressure is actually going to be going upward, right? Because the 5/8 pin is going to want to tilt up so that you've got the weight of whatever it is that the pin is holding, pulling down because of gravity. And the pin's going to be tilted up. It's going to want to tilt up. So these adapters, there's going to be pressure on them going up, not pressure going down. And so there's not any reason to have a weight limit on these, because it just doesn't matter. You're still going to be able to use them. So I will put, if anyone is interested, let me know if you guys are interested in these specific products, because if you are, I will put the link to Maverick's workshop in the description for this video. Somebody just put it in the chat, and I'll put the link for Maverick's workshop in the description for this video. And then you guys will be able to click on there, go on Etsy. If you don't have an account, set up an account now. And there's all kinds of little things on there that you can use to customize your home gym and just make it reflect you and your personality a little bit better. So I've got those, and dang it, I was supposed to be calming down. They're in transit, and they're supposed to arrive. It says they're supposed to get here today, okay? But I don't want them to play with my emotions, so I'm giving them until the 20th. So I'm giving them until the 20th to get here, okay? They're coming from Texas. I'm going to tell you right now, if these get here before my dang shirt, the shirt is in Missouri. If these things come here from Texas and get here before this shirt, I'm gonna have to hang my heavy bag back up, because yeah, let's just not talk about that anymore. All right, so anyway, that is the final item in the news you can use segment. And you guys let me know, what do you guys think of these the new segments that we have going on? But we're going to go ahead and we're going to transition into our next segment, which is, what are you doing in your house? All right. And so we're going to be going into our segment, what are you doing in your house? And this segment is brought to you by G-Code Nutrition. G-Code helps you weather the storm and dominate every single day. You can check them out, shop.gcodenutrition.com. I'm going to go ahead and put that across the bottom here so you guys can find it easily. And you can get the Vice Tri-Chamber, which I purely coincidentally happen to have right here. Okay, it wasn't a coincidence. I planned it. But I got the Vice Tri-Chamber, and what this is, its container holds 3 different flavors of pre-workout in 3 separate slots. So the Vice Tri-Chamber holds 3 different flavors of pre-workout in 1 container. All right, so you guys can get an idea of how big it is. This is it compared to my cell phone. Okay. All right. So it fits in the palm of your hand. It's very compact, very portable. Now, I just leave it on the shelf in my kitchen, okay? I don't haul this thing around with me, but I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And for those of you who are tuning in and watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see how they set this thing up. But if you're just listening in the car or something like that, just come back and check out the replay. And I'm also going to post this on Instagram so you guys can get an idea of what it looks like. But let me tilt it here a little bit. First of all, we got to figure out the camera. Well, we don't want to spill any. So here, we'll do that. Let's put it right here. There we go. All right, so that's what the Tri-Chamber looks like. And you guys see I took a marker because when it comes, the only thing I don't like about it is you can't tell which flavor is which. But one flavor is the Beast and Blue Raspberry. Then another flavor is the Green Apple Gummy. And then that one that I mark with a C, that's Cherry Swola. So Cherry Swola is basically it's a cherry Pepsi. And so you see, I have it labeled, right? I marked on the inside of the chamber. So the G is for Green Apple Gummy, obviously, which is my wife's flavor that she likes. And then I like the Cherry Swola the best. And then I also like the Blue Raz a little bit too. I like making slushies out of the Blue Raz. So the reason why that matters is because, I mean, honestly, you get tired of taking the same flavor pre-workout every day, you know? So you want some variety in your life. This is a 37 serving container because it's 10 servings per flavor. And this is the tri-chamber. And then once I get this thing emptied, I'm actually going to keep it and use it to store other things. So I may have like BCAAs in one slot, pre-workout in my favorite pre-workout in another slot, and maybe like a greens drink powder in the other slot. And then this will be like a take it on the road type of thing that I can put in my bag. I have a go bag and that has everything I need for the day, you know, wherever I'm going. And I'll be able to just throw this in my go bag with me, right? What do you call EDC, everyday carry? Yeah. So that's a good thing. So you go to shop.gcodenutrition.com and then do me a favor and use the promo code Best Gym in Town at checkout. You'll save 10% and you'll be supporting the show. All right. So let's go ahead and continue on with the next item. Now let's get to these workouts you've been waiting for. Let's start out. First up is my guy, the Kurt Locker. Let's check him out. So Kurt is getting ready for HomeGymCon. He's actually, if you were watching a couple of weeks ago when he was on with us, he's actually promoting a strongman competition for beginning strongman or anybody to jump into. And he's doing some log presses right there. You notice that he's coming off of, we'll watch that again. You notice that he's coming off of his rack. I believe those are the Surplus Strength safety spotters. So shout out to Surplus Strength. I didn't mean to shout them out here, but I'm a fan of their company, so I don't mind doing it. But he's coming off of there, and this is the equivalent of doing like a bench press or a pin press, rather, in the rack. Because now one of the toughest things for someone who is doing any kind of log pressing is the transition from your lap. Because what you do is you basically deadlift the log, then you got to sit down like you're getting ready to do a Zercher lift, and you put the log on your lap. And then you got to shift your grip a little bit so that you can go from the deadlift to almost a clean position, and then you kind of stand up with it, and then you're going to press. So this allows you to do a little bit of overload training because you can kind of avoid most of that. You see that he's going to rotate his hands right there. You want to cock your thumbs so that your thumbs are lower than your pinkies. And that's just because of how the most logs are built. You see how that's an even better angle right there because you can see. Let's go back. Hold up a second. Right there. All right. Back up just a little bit. Okay. So you see at the start, if you're watching, you can see at the start that your thumbs, your wrists are cocked back, and that looks, I'm sure, very, very uncomfortable. But your thumbs are cocked back, and so back and down. And so your elbows have to stay high. But that's the only way you can do it because you're log pressing a sofa or I don't know, a TV set, trying to push that up in the air. All right. Hey, we got my guy Kaevon. He has joined the stream. So he is here. We got proof of life. Proof of life. So Kaevon, as soon as you give me the thumbs up, I'll go ahead and I'll add you. I'll go ahead and I'll finish out this segment after we get done with our interview. All right. Okay, so I'll be adding him a little bit. Do me a favor. Can you tilt your camera down just a little bit, though, Kaevon? Because it's like I'm staring into the sun. You have got, shout out to your electrical provider because that light is bright. All right. Anyway, so as I was saying about this, if you're going to be doing any kind of log pressing, this is something that most people struggle with, and when they're doing the log, because it's not like pressing a barbell. You literally are trying to press a very thick object around your face, because if you don't do it right, you hit yourself in the nose, which will be entertaining for the crowd, but not fun for you. So that's why you have to cock your elbows like that and your wrists, and then you do a little bit of leg drive, and Kurt demonstrates that very, very well. So if you want to check out Kurt, you go ahead and you check out _Kurt Locker on Instagram, and he also has a great YouTube channel that you guys definitely want to check out. He's got some really, really cool stuff here. So make sure you jump on that. But we will come back to that segment, and instead, we're now gonna go to our first guest. That's right, Kaevon Khoozani has joined the chat. Kaevon Khoozani. Yeah, I'm gonna say it like this. Let's go with the Michael Buffer. Kaevon Khoozani. How's that?
That was really good. I should set that as my alarm clock.
I feel like you should. In fact, I would love to do that for you. Hey, in the chat, tell me, put a thumbs up in the chat if you want Kaevon to make me saying his name his wake-up call on his phone. That is legendary. What a great idea. I'll do it free of charge just to be able to say I did it. Are you just the look on your face? Let me give you the big screen right here, because the look on your face seems astounded at my energy level.
Yeah, I actually, so I'm late, obviously. Sorry about that. So I woke from I think between daylight savings time and you being on EST, it switched in my calendar to 5 a.m. I set my alarm for 4:45, and that thing was just on snooze. And my wife walked in at 6 and was like, "Don't you have an interview right an hour ago?" And I was like, "Oh no,
that's hilarious."
Yeah.
Don't you have somewhere to be?
Yeah. And I checked my email and I saw that your invite was for 7 EST. And I was like, "Oh,
you saw my emails getting more and more frantic. This dude's hitting me up on LinkedIn. He's hitting me up on email. I'm basically stalking you at this point.
Yeah. Got the carrier.
Don't look out the window. There's an airplane going overhead. It is skywriting. Kaevon, where are you at?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Probably. I don't know what's going on with the lighting either. It's
no. This is good. No, the one you had before, man, was just it was abusive. But this one is perfect. This is perfect. And honestly, the guys in the chat. Okay, so we already got one thumbs up saying that yes, you do need to make me saying your name like the Michael Buffer thing. You need to make that your. If you could make it your ringtone, that would also be nice. But definitely your alarm clock.
It would make more sense because I don't actually use an alarm clock.
Yeah, we'll make it your. We'll work it out. I promise you. I'm literally no charge. I'm happy to do it. Really, okay. I'm happy to do it. All right, so I got at least one guy in the chat who wants to. I know he's got questions for you. It's Jared Martin. I don't know how long Jared's going to be with us, so I want to go ahead and jump into this. So Jared, you can start firing your questions off. We got Jonathan, my guy from No Fate 24/7 channel. He's also here in the chat. So if you have questions for Kaevon, go ahead and just start throwing them in the chat because I want to also respect your time, Kaevon. We've got time because what I did was I just flip-flopped the 7:05 Eastern segment and the 6:05 Eastern segments. So we're good to go. Okay. All right. So, but to get things started, let's go ahead and go with my first question for you. And that is, you guys had an awesome booth, in my opinion, at HomeGymCon. Your booth. So for those who were not there, when you walk into the expo, the first thing you saw right ahead of you was Swing Sesh. And they had, it's basically a swing set that adults and kids can use because it's got weights on it. And then it's got the kids' little play stuff, right? But the natural human reaction when you walk into a room is you look straight ahead and you scan left to right. So I don't know if you guys did it on purpose, but the very next thing is like the Swing Sesh booth led your eye directly to the Bells of Steel booth. So you can't help it. And then if you wanted to walk into the expo, you had to walk past the Bells of Steel booth. There was no other alternative, right? So it's like, they're like, hey, you will not ignore us. And y'all's booth was huge. Had plenty of room to work out there. I actually went ahead and I worked out in your Hydro Rack. Yeah, I worked out in your Hydro Rack and also did some stuff with your open trap bar. So I love the way that it was set up, and I enjoyed meeting your staff. You had Andrew was there, and then Andrew Ponsler, and then Kat. I don't remember Kat's last name, but Kat was there as well. So you guys say you're going to have a scaled down setup this year, though. So what can people who are attending HomeGymCon this year expect from the Bells of Steel booth this time?
I think we're still like.
Oh, don't play with my emotions. Don't you do it.
We're still kind of like hashing it out. But I think because Jake actually messaged me yesterday and said that he might actually have more room because first we were going to do bigger, then we dropped out, and we joined back in. And he said, "Oh, I don't have like the same size booth you had." So we're in a 20 by 10. And I think maybe somebody, if there's anyone out there who's coming and wants to comment, but I think we're going to just like focus on the really kind of like new stuff that like prototypes or like just dropped.
Are you going to sing that new at some point? Give me that new. That would be nice. That's just a request.
I'll put it. I'll have to look that one up. We're a little bit behind.
You don't get new music in Canada.
Yeah, like we're just getting Michael Jackson is just around.
I refuse to believe that. It's like this Michael Jackson dude's really good.
Yeah, he's so good.
This ABC, man, that's amazing.
So yeah, I think the focus is completely new stuff, and I think what it's going to be is a dread mill. So the cable tower. And do you know Matthew Porter? He's on Instagram.
Yeah. Porter is at Porter. I think it's _phys ed, but I know it's Porter phys ed. He's like a PE teacher or something like that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so he started like developing all these like really cool attachments the last I don't know how long he's been doing it now, maybe over a year. And so I partnered, or I shouldn't say I partnered with him. I've been working with him to like with those designs, and we've got like our first prototypes just came, and I actually sent them directly to him for like testing and checking out. So some of his most popular ones were working together to bring it to like market on like mass scale. So we're gonna have those there with our cable tower. So it's the belt squat attachment, the lat pull down attachment, and the cable fly attachment that he's been like making himself. We're now doing it.
So with all that plus the dread mill, things like that.
And
I assume you're gonna have the manicure too, right?
And then so that was kind of the last piece. We were arguing back and forth whether the manicure or the 2-in-1 leg press. But I think we're gonna do the manicure with Smith attachment. We just got like our third prototype of the Smith attachment. It's pretty much done. We're just trying to figure out the bar on it. The bar needs to be changed. So yeah, I think that's going to be it. And then I'm coming. One of our main designers coming, who's in Calgary, and then Andrew's coming.
Oh, cool. He got no excuse. He lives in Indianapolis. It's like an hour, 2 hours away. Come on, man. So
him and Kat are married though, and they just had a baby like this week.
Yeah. So that was why actually. So I had this is one of the follow-up questions, but that was for people who don't know. That was part of the reason why you guys weren't sure if you're going to be able to be at HomeGymCon. There was like this, you have all these conspiracy theorists about why you guys weren't there, but Kat's haven't had a baby. Come on, man. That's a little important, okay?
Yeah, so hopefully I didn't just announce that. But anyways, yes, she had a baby. And so it'd be me, Andrew, Shane, another guy from Indy, and myself, and then one of our designers from Calgary. And then I think we're gonna have one. We're trying to finalize it. And then I have got 4 special guests I'm working on, but I haven't confirm their flights yet, so I don't know if I should announce.
We'll keep that one a secret because That it's better to surprise people with something good than to disappoint people when something good doesn't happen.
True.
Yeah. And I say that as a man who's been married almost 20 years. So take that how you like. I want to jump into the questions from the chat though, because I appreciate you guys being here. So Jared has 2 comments. So let's start with the first one. First one is Jared says, I'll be at HomeGymCon, and he put "and" in big capital letters, so that's definitely important. And he said he was the home gym of the month. I'm presuming home gym of the month for Bells of Steel for July last year. So here comes his, I love this. He says, so what does a guy have to do to get a pair of the DD35s, even if they are used? What do I have to do to get them before they disappear? And he says, this is a sweetening the deal. He says, I do make sourdough bread. So there's that. I mean, I don't know how you can turn that down.
Yeah, we're clearing them out, and I feel like we have 35s, but I'll have to double check.
He wants. I mean, those deep dish are. Hey, come on now. I wanted your deep dish hundreds.
Okay. Yeah.
You see my face? Hold on. Let me make sure you can see it.
I will say this, and I can't really talk about anything more, but
it's just us here.
There is like an infringement lawsuit with them involved. So we're on
the deep dish hundreds,
or
just on the deep dish in general.
And deep dish in general,
okay,
and a few other things.
So is that without getting into any legal trouble? Is it basically stopping you from selling them, or is it basically you have to stop selling them? Does that make sense? Like how I'm phrasing it?
It's like in
because it's in progress. I'm assuming
it's in progress. So we're actually, because they, they weren't a big seller for us, so we were
let's just get rid of this headache.
Phasing them out anyways, and so yeah.
Okay.
So that's
well, the reason I'm asking that is because if people want to buy it, and you're not able to sell it at all, we need to just let them know, hey, look, they're not able to sell them at all. But if you are able to sell them, and it's one of those things like, hey, we're not bringing them back, then I want people to understand that. But you can buy. Yeah,
we can. We are clearing them out right now, and if I have any, I guess like shoot me an email or something, and they can see if there's any in the indie warehouse and bring them in.
Okay, so let's go back to, so then to just be specific for Jared's question, can you go on, because I got your website going across the bottom, so can you just go to bellsofsteel.us and look on there, and he'll see the plates, whatever you guys have left, or does he need to email you?
I can't remember offhand. I think he might have to email in. I think he might have to email in.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe email in, because we're kind of like.
Do you want me to put your email address in the thing, or maybe we have another email address we can use?
Just the support at Bells of Steel.
Okay, I'm trying to be a humanitarian.
and then say, Kaevon sent the email in and give me a quote or whatever.
All right, so go to bellsofsteel.us and go to support, and then just shoot them an email and tell them that Kaevon said to email them. All right, that's perfect. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. All right, that makes sense. I am going to email you directly. All right, I'm skipping past all that. I'm emailing you directly.
Okay.
Now, Jared also has a follow-up comment. He said, I want to thank Kaevon for having probably the most customizable rack on the market. I was able to get the Hydra half rack configuration that fits my space very well, and it's a lot better than others I have checked. How does that make you guys feel, man? I know, because you're a home gym owner. You're standing in your home gym right now. How does it make you feel, especially given where you started, to know, man, this thing that I made is actually making a difference, and people are recognizing let's say the forethought, because it takes a little bit more than people would think to come out with products that work. You know what I mean? There's always little bugs that you have to go through the engineering process. But how does that just feel when you get that kind of feedback?
Yeah, it's great. You know, I do a lot of things. I try and spend, especially now, I've learned more and more as the years go on to try and like get things right the first time we come up with an iteration. So yeah, it's really cool to hear that, and you know, hear that stuff that we spent so much time, like, oh man, I think we spent over 2 years on the Hydra. It was actually the Manticore first, but so we designed the Manticore first, but the Hydra came out first. Kind of a long story, but we spent so much time just like making sure that everything could Lego together and like trying to future proof it and making sure we really hit it. And yeah, it's great to to hear the feedback and see the sales. So yeah, I think like again as like the years go on, I'm like I knew the Hydra, like I almost knew like the Hydra's got to work. Like it's such a cool design. So I think as I go on, I'm like I like to see I get like a big thrill from our like fringe products working.
Oh yeah,
because then that something like really like out of left field. Anyways, I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it's cool to
no,
hear.
it does
Great.
because it's something that sometimes. So like I get a lot of ideas when I'm working out, and so people think that my dry erase board is there to write down my workout. It's actually there when I have a random idea and I don't, because if you don't write it down, you're gonna lose it. And it's there to write down my ideas that I get during the workout. And so I love it with a company like yours because you're a home gym owner. You make products that are used in home gyms. So the ideas for your product are arising out of your personal use of your home gym, which I believe is why they are resonating with the home gym community so much, because we can tell that one of us made, whatever this thing. It's like, oh, it feels like I made it myself. You're like, oh, it's like he knows me personally, to quote Cat Williams. Oh, they know me personally. You know what I mean? So, oh, wait a minute. You said y'all behind. Cat Williams is a comedian, and he's got a lot of. Okay. So, yeah. I think that actually makes a lot of sense to me. Because in the past, so when I started my home gym, it was in 2001. So Rogue Fitness didn't exist, for example. And if we wanted to order something, it really was very difficult. So most of the time we were getting equipment that used to be like in a high school weight room. And it's designed for, like a random teenager. Whereas now you guys are making products that I could customize for a 50-year-old man.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like what I need, my dimensions, everything. Like when I told you I used the Hydra at HomeGymCon last year, and I was talking to Andrew, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, you could." I said, "So how does this come?" I was asking him like, "Well, does it come like this?" And he kept on saying, "I don't." He was like, I was like, I'm gonna start frustrating him because he has to keep saying it. He said, "No, it comes however you want it. Like you can custom." He said, finally, he was like, "Okay, look, you can take all this stuff off and put it where you want." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Oh, that's crazy. Like this is like a dang, I'm showing my age again, an erector set."
Yeah,
but an erector set for the home gym. Was that like kind of like in your head, like, you know what, when I'm gonna start making this equipment, but people have different requirements, home gyms are different sizes, so I'm gonna make it fully customizable?
Yeah, yeah, so big on the like fully customizable and modularity. And yeah, I mean, whatever. I kind of did this like brand refocus this year, because we were starting to like lose our way, but like we're starting to like have troubles, making decisions on like whatever, how to market stuff or what products to release or like how to focus when you're designing a product. And
you mean like you were like, okay, so let me stop you for a second. So you're saying that, was it a case of what I see too many companies do, which is, oh, this is popular, let's make it, versus what makes sense for us?
Exactly. And essentially. So like I was like, I was starting to get a little, maybe me and my partner, I don't know. We were kind of just being like, we'd have a supplier come reach out and be like, do you want to, maybe I'll give you a clear example. So we're like, maybe one that we're working on was.
Are you part of the resurgence in yoga mats? Because we were talking about that earlier. The global yoga mat market is growing. I don't know if you knew about this. You need to jump in on this. Okay. It's taking over.
We are working on a yoga mat, really.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Look at me on the cutting edge. Just on the cutting freaking edge.
So one of the biggest, I was looking on this, there's this software I use that like you can look at Google, like aggregates Google Trends and like just presents the data like a little easier. And so like one of the biggest trending products right now in fitness is under the desk treadmills, like for search volume.
Yeah.
And we were like working on one, one of our suppliers carries a bunch, and we were like, okay, we should do this. I use one, like I think they're great, but we sat down after this rebrand, and we were like, we are not going to do something unless we can do it like our way and like put our spin on it, and unless it's like, and we always develop like home gym first. Home gym is always in like the forefront. We do have like we did kind of build out a bigger base in the last couple of years. We were like, hey, we need enough stuff for our commercial sales guys to be able to quote, a military base or whatever. So they need like the essentials that maybe aren't as popular in home gym, but they're still kind of like essentials, like maybe like a med ball, like a non-slam, or just a regular med ball. So yeah, really trying to like focus like home gym owners is first in line in design intent. And then like everything else afterwards. So yeah, it's early in the morning. Where did that conversation start?
Well, you were just talking about how you're kind of making sure that you guys are selling products that make sense for your company instead of just chasing whatever's shiny on the market right now.
That's right. And so I guess I think and then other parts of that is like, okay, what makes like there's a range of things that like makes like a perfect product, and like what's the range of products that like really separate us. And one of the number one things for us is like modular and multi-purpose, and so like that modularity idea, where it can be fit in, I mean, can't fit it in everywhere, is a big focus. And like with the Hydra, I mean, I hope this year we'll start doing it, but like the guys in our showrooms or in our like retail storefronts in Calgary, like they're always cooking up like these new, every time I'm in there, they got something new cooked up. And I was in there last time, they had figured out this wicked storage attachment using a back brace and like one bracket from a folding rack, and like put this really cool storage thing together. I was like, oh, like that is, then you don't even have to create a new like SKU or design a new product. You just, as we go along, the guys will just like Lego, tinker around, make new things, and then just take pictures of it and list it on the website and like show people as well. And then of course they can do that too. Like you can order extra components and just get extremely creative. So like trying to like evoke that feeling when you're a kid again. I didn't actually play with Lego when I was a kid, but I did play with action figures a lot. But like trying to evoke that.
There you go, dude. I had He-Man and G.I. Joe and a couple of Star Wars, and my multiverse was amazing. Okay, because it was like and then of course some generic toys. But the reason I was laughing when you were saying that is I just picture you like Santa coming into the workshop, and you're looking at, you got your coffee cup, because of course Santa drinks coffee, and he walks in and he's just like sees the elves and they're doing something, and you're like, and he's just like, what am I looking at right now? Because you try to figure out what it is. All right. Yeah. And I can just picture like you. So in my head, okay, climb into my head for a second. You don't want to stay long, but climb in my head. You walk in and Andrew is like one of the elves, and he's upside down in a rack. And you walk in and you're like, what is going on here? And he's, oh no, this is great. You use this to improve your deadlift, I promise. And you just like, what? Then you try to walk back like through the, so walk me through the process of how you even came up with this idea. And you got to go through all that. So that just that fast, that's what I pictured. And it was just hilarious to me. That's why I was laughing. We got more questions, and you guys keep it coming. My guy Kurt Locker, who we already shouted out. You only get one. You normally only get one shout out a day, Kurt, but you've snuck your way into two. Kurt Locker from the Kurt Locker YouTube channel is in here. He's got a question. But first, I'm going to go to Jared's question because it was first. And he said, are slam balls coming with you? And he wants to know about any new Hydra rack attachments because he's a big fan of the seal roll pad, which I got to try last year. And my wife is a fan of it as well. So are you going to have slam balls there? And do you have any new Hydra rack attachments that will be there? Not necessarily. I'm going to add to that question. And is this something that are you going to be debuting any new Hydra rack attachments, unveiling them there? And then will you also have any of the Hydra rack attachments that you've unveiled over the course of the year since last HomeGymCon? Okay.
Okay. So we're actually, so for Jared and anyone else listening, yeah, would fire that email and like give me your wish list and we'll try and pack up everything and
let's go.
Yeah, just for you. Yeah, because we're I think for like actual sellable goods, we're mostly just bringing, collars and shirts and belts and knee sleeves, like just light stuff that we. A lot of it's actually like pre-packed. We're kind of copying and pasting a lot of stuff that we did at the Arnold's, and just because the Arnold's was so recent, like some of the stuff is already packaged up. So yes, if you have any special requests, fire over an email and we'll do our best to bring it all with us. And even if you just want us to bring it to like have a look at it, then we'll bring it to you. Like you don't have to. I don't know if he's flying in or something, but if you just want to see the Mad Ball, yeah, fire an email and I'll do my best to bring it.
Let me follow that up with, because you guys are you're giving, I'm assuming, a discount rate if somebody's in person at the expo to buy.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So if he is flying or anybody who's flying in, can they order it? Because that's what I actually did. I got a bare naked power bar while I was there. And what we did is, instead of me trying to fit it in my car, Andrew just ordered from the website. He gave me the same deal and then he shipped it to the house. So, and I was like, man, that's a really good idea, because you guys were the only ones to do that, right? So, and I've been telling other brands like this year, hey, here's an idea you might want to follow. So, are you guys going to do that again?
Yeah, we definitely are. So we'll order the booth with discount. I got to finalize what that is exactly, but yeah, we'll do something like last year. And yeah, we can bring stuff. And then for Hydra attachments. So we're gonna bring a man's core with the Smith attachment prototype. That prototype will fit. It's like universal, so it'll fit the man's core, fit the Hydra. It'll fit a whole like plethora of racks that aren't our brand as well. And for Hydra like attachments in the works, I mean the big one is the Kraken, like our cable system, which is like more towards like our cable tower, like a cable tower. So yeah, that's in the works. And then what else we've been cooking up for the Hydra? All kinds of the Kraken would be like the biggest by far.
You had the leg extension, leg curl thing that people were asking about a lot.
Yeah, that's out. And then some more like doing some more rounds of like small stuff, like trying to so like one I'm working on is just like a storage basket essentially, and some hooks, like some more storage related stuff, some utility hooks, some other kind of hooks. So as far as like big, crazy, audacious ones, mostly just the Kraken, and then like a series of smaller storage focused stuff, I'd say.
All right. Let's go to the Kurt Locker question. It's he said, see, he wants to know if you're bringing if you're gonna have the Massonomics Dudeman with you at HomeGymCon.
Okay. Well, I feel like there's like a rumor somehow leaked. So that's one of the special guests we're working on right now. So I'm trying to. We've been emailing back and forth, and yesterday, I think I just kind of said, here's like the situation for flights and whatever, because they live in sort south northwest Dakota.
South northwest and South Dakota or something like
and the airline situation is not great there. So yesterday I emailed them and I was like, yeah, let's do it. I asked them a few questions and I was like, but that like the flights from where you're coming from, like it's a long day. You're gonna have the fastest one that I found, you have to fly to Georgia first, to Atlanta, and transfer to Indianapolis. So you're like flying, you know, all the way down to Georgia and then back up to Indy, and yeah, so it's a big ride. So yeah,
let's take a look at their probable flight path here. So I've got all the technology, okay? So we're trying to get them to Indiana, okay? And here's the thing. So they're in South Dakota, am I right? So they're here, all right, and they're trying to get from here through the wilderness of Iowa, across Illinois to Indiana. And so because of the miracle, because probably nobody's ever thought of doing that, I don't even know how Larry Bird got to wherever the Celtics, okay? But so the only way they can go is to fly down to here where I am.
Yeah.
And if they get here early enough, they can ride with me because I'm driving up this way through Kentucky to Indiana. So make sure they know that that's available too. All right. So they got to fly down to here and then go up here, when really they could just drive that way. But that's a little bit bigger distance than you would think. Okay. So that's a little bit more intimidating than you would think to just go from here to here. Yeah. I actually hadn't planned on doing that, but shout out to Google for providing a colorful United States map that I could call on in my hour of need here.
And I'm actually I'm north of South Dakota. I'm just above North Dakota is where I am. And
they're in
my
Canada.
In Manitoba, and my flight path is Winnipeg to Minneapolis, Indiana. Like it's super easy.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. So like you said, it's a matter of the size of the airports, because certain airports you won't have flights. So like Atlanta has people coming from all over the world, so you can fly directly to there. But some places nobody really flies there, so you have to do an indirect thing to find like a little charter flight. The pilot's wearing shorts and flip flops, and you hope you make it there to try to get there.
It's probably going to be them. They would have to fly the plane and to get themselves to Atlanta. Anyways,
let's go. So you're trying to get him to make it happen.
Yeah, we've been talking about it, and I think it was just this week that I kind of confirmed, like, let's try it. Let's do this if you're up, because we talked about it before, and then we've been scrambling to prepare for this because everybody was at the Arnold's and just like hungover from that, not literally hungover, but like hungover from all the work that went into it, and flying back home, and like everybody just woefully behind. And then I was away for
Ursa
last week. I went to Ursa and Vegas for another convention. And before that, I was in just a lot of traveling. So everybody's just woefully behind. And so I haven't really. We were trying to keep it special guests, but somehow Kurt Locker had
Kurt knows everything. So Kurt is a serving member. He's actually a master sergeant in the Air Force right now, and so that dude, ain't no telling what kind of security clearance he has. So. If you don't want it known, don't say it out loud because Kurt might find out. Oh, Stabby Daddy.
Kurt is like ingrained in my memory, like doing product design. I remember when I kind of first started selling into the U.S. and the U.S. customer is distinct from Canadians. I think the biggest way that they're different is that in American customers, if they like your product, like they will like shout it to the world, and make a 20-minute YouTube video about how much they love it. But then the same goes for if they don't like your product. And so I remember I think I sold Kurt one of our original safety squat bars, and he didn't like it, and he returned or something. But then he did like a 20-minute YouTube video, just like describing every like flaw and inaccuracy on it, and being like this, that, and the other. And I remember watching it, just being like, "Huh, I guess I better
I guess I better fix that." But you know what? It's almost. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that was like that's kind of like the standard that was set for me, like for American customers. Is like we couldn't do the same things we were doing in Canada. In Canada, people like I was doing kind of the same thing that I'm doing, but in Canada, like we didn't have much competition, right? Like everybody was just glad to have somebody that actually carried some of these products. Yeah. Then we went down to the US and we were like, hey, we're gonna go toe to toe with, the big guys that are already out there. And this is when we were much, much smaller and scrappier. And it's like, okay, you're not gonna be able to compete if you don't up your packaging and up your design and like up your everything and try and factor all this in. So that was like a good like wake up call maybe to understand the expectations of entering into this market.
I'm gonna go ahead and get some more questions from the chat because they're coming in. You guys keep them coming. But shout out to Home Gym Tech, became a member of the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support. You guys, there's a join button. If you click on that, I don't push it too much, but if you join the channel, every bit of that money goes back into making better videos for you guys. Like for example, I've heard your pleas and I'm gonna get a better microphone. So it'll sound better for you guys, all right? Because we got some stuff in the works that requires better sound, and so I'm gonna get a better microphone, which means I need money for microphones. And so Home Gym Tech, you're part of that movement, so thank you so much. I appreciate you becoming a member. Shout out to you. If you have a question, just throw it in the chat. Use your brand new emojis you have access to now as a member, and I'll make sure that I throw your comment at the top of the line, okay? But let's go ahead and Kurt says that he's roasted other products more than Bells of Steel. But the one thing I wanted to point out about that is when I'm doing any sort of reviews or anything, I see that there's a stark difference between a USA made product and anything that's made overseas, because some of and that what you said explains it, because customers in countries outside the United States, I think, are just grateful for what they have. Whereas Americans, to a certain extent, we're spoiled. So we're like, oh no, wait a minute. Now that color, like for me, I'm ready to go through. I'm willing to spend extra expense because my power rack isn't the exact color I want, right? Yeah. So it's just things like that, and that goes to a question from Anan, who wants to know, do you have any thoughts on colors for your racks?
Yeah, I think we rolled out a few for the Hydra already, and then I think we're doing the same for the Manticore. But it's something I just tried to avoid for as long as humanly possible. It's such a like logistical and inventory nightmare for everything from keeping proper inventory to mispicks. Mispicks are very common when you start getting into color variations, and then overstocks and stuff like that. So I was trying to avoid it for the longest time, but yeah, I think we will be doing more and more and more. But I guess we're kind of testing the waters with the Hydra. And I think we're doing it already for the Manticore. But yes, more colors are coming to both.
All right, next question also from Anan says he loves your Roller J cups and he thinks your shorty mag pins are brilliant. He wants to know if you're going to add UHMW plastic to the front of the Roller J cup.
On are they talking about on the light commercial kind of models?
I believe that's what he's talking about. Yeah.
I don't think on the light commercial, on the Hydra Manticore, I think we have it on both. I think on the light commercial we're actually doing a big redesign of them right now. The redesign not being changing the tubing of the hole size, but actually just doing the same thing we've done with the Hydra and Manticore and make them like modular. And I think some of those things like we're weighing those like cost benefit on every little detail. Like, okay, do we want laser numbers? Do we want J-cups with like extra padding or whatever? Is it worth the cost? Because we're trying to make it more of a budget solution. But sometimes like the cost difference on that is like it's not much. It's like $1 or something, and then like $1 cost translates to $2 or $3 or double or triple cost to the end consumer, factoring in shipping and building in margins and stuff like that. So maybe that's a good counter question. Is like where does the like the balance lie between especially on the 60x60 racks where we're trying to be like a little more economic, like so worth adding in those features that'll add $5 here, $3 there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that because that was actually one of the questions. Is like even when I was talking to Andrew last year about why you guys discontinued the industrial trap bar with the longer sleeves, and you went to the open trap bar that has a shorter sleeves. I was like, why you have these? And even I was like, what's the deal? But I was like, I'm not flaming them on social media. I'll just wait till I see him. And I was like, hey, and he was actually good enough to stop and just do a video with me and say, oh, yeah, this is why. It's essentially because of shipping costs, right? So what I want to ask you, kind of bouncing off of that and the question is, how do you balance that? Because you know how picky home gym owners, especially in the US, are. So how tough is that to make that financial decision? Like, this just doesn't make financial sense, but also knowing you're going to hear from people who are like, oh, the product was so good. I used to love it until they did this. So how do you balance those things as a business owner? Because when people say, oh, the financial is the money, well, look, you've got people who work for you. They're trying to put their kids through college based upon what they make working for you. They have to feed their families. It's not just, oh, I want to make money. There's more to it than that. So how do you balance all those things, your responsibilities to your customers, your responsibility to your employees, and just what makes good business sense with trying to make people happy?
I think the it's tricky. I think the industrial trap bar was like that. The UPS and FedEx oversized fee is just like egregious. It's $150 if you go over whatever their required dimensions are. And so in that case, on every product now, regardless if it's a high end or like a more economic product, we're like, no, we design our packaging to be within those boundaries, and we design our products to be within those boundaries. So like, even if you want to do something more expensive and higher end, it's like, okay, we still need to design with those packaging because the customers are paying for useless shipping. They're not getting their money's worth. They're just paying these oversized fees. So we try and avoid those at all costs. The only places where we're starting to get hit with those, or that we consciously make the decision to go ahead, is really in cardio. Everything else is broken apart to avoid that and avoid freight as much as possible too, because freight is really, it's hard to deal with. So anyways, but when it comes to like features like I was talking about before, it's always hard because, okay, you got your 60x60 racks, you're trying to be more economic, but still there's like a big gap between that and like a Hydra or a Manticore pricing, and they're still like great racks. So even though they're more like economic, like why cheap out on maybe these like nicer fit and finishes and things like that when still the price differential between a Hydra and a 60x60, even with those features built in, would be like whatever 30%. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how
it's just a balancing act.
I'm still trying to figure it out. Like this redesign. We're sitting there, and I was talking to. So I've got two in it. I've got the product team. Bells of Steel is me, another woman, and my little brother's been helping out too. He started working for us last year, and then some projects, some of the bigger projects. So one of the other potential special guests is by an engineer that I've been working with for 4 years now. His name's Adam, and he lives in Poland. He lives in Warsaw, and
Oh,
I
wow.
met him through the Home Gym Facebook group,
Nice.
like the Garage Gym Reviews one. And
Okay.
one day he posted like the engineer drawings of a rack he had made for himself, and
Wow.
and I messaged him. It's like, "Are you like an engineer who?" And yeah, he's like a competitive IPF powerlifter who's also a mechanical engineer. Most of his work is in car design and engines, stuff
Okay.
like that. But anyways, he's helped with a lot of the bigger stuff. Like he designed the seal rope pad, he designed the Manticore Hydra,
Okay.
etc. I don't know where I was going with that, but I think we were sitting just yesterday, me and my brother and the other product person in Calgary, and just like arguing back and forth about the 60 by 60 redesign, being like, okay, how many holes should it have? Like, what should we do laser numbers on the side? That's going to cost X amount more. Okay, well X, whatever, $1 more, but $1 per each pose. That's $4. That translates to $12 on the retail end. Like, where do you fit? So yeah, it's I don't know. And then sometimes you miss, and then you got to go redesign the whole dang thing. And that would make that is too. So I'm trying to get it right the first time.
So I've got 2 suggestions. I didn't even really mean to turn this into open trap bar talk, but we're here now, so let's talk about it while we got you for a few more minutes. So the first thing, this is actually a suggestion I didn't come up with, and that is from people who made comments on the video, and they were asking, I believe it was Joey Echeverria, and he was like, why can't they just do bolt-on sleeves for the open trap bar? So like maybe it ships in 2 packages. So you ship the trap bar, and then you send out the sleeves separately or whatever, and you can just pay for that, or you can ship it out without sleeves at all, and then I can say, hey, look, and I can tell you, hey, I want these whatever. And then the third, so I guess that's one option in 2 is like bolt on sleeves. So that's one thing I'm asking you about. Second thing is, what about the idea of selling your industrial trap bar at walk-up situations? So because Jared lives in Indy, and he said he bought one before he discontinued it. He bought it at the Indy showroom, and then you went to Ursa, you've been to the Arnold, and you're going to be at HomeGymCon. So if somebody's going to be there, they're like, hey, okay, yeah, so we'll bring it, because it's up to you now to ship it. If you want to strap it to the top of your Ford Festiva, that's on you. So what about those 2 ideas before we move on?
All right, so the bolt-on is probably where we're headed with the new version that I'm working on. Of kind of a bigger one. But if you do the bolt-on, you can't do like the real barbell sleeves. I mean, maybe you could, and then you could just like tell people how to fasten those. But I think that's a bad idea. You can't do the road. So that was my big thing. I want a real sleeve. I think that's one of the big reasons our regular open trap bar is so popular.
Oh, well, hold on a second. Let me ask you this, and I'm not an engineer, okay, at all.
Sure.
But when I say bolt on, I'm not talking about like so like the sleeve is running horizontally across the screen, for example, right? And then the bolt's going top to bottom. What I'm talking about is, how like when you take a barbell apart, take the sleeves off, like you. That's what, and then you put some those safety those pins, the collar pin. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on the pins, but you know what I'm talking about, to hold them in place. That's what I'm talking about.
I think from that point of view, just like it's a lot of work, and like it needs to be done right and safely. Which I wouldn't, a lot of people, myself included, I'm not like particularly handy, and I think it's a big ask. And then like mostly safe, like a big safety hazard. That was kind of my concerns with that. Is like it's kind of tricky, and there's like a safety aspect to it that I'm like not comfortable doing. Yeah.
All right. So we got I have one more question, and then we have one more question in the chat, and then we'll let you go. And I appreciate your time, man. You guys make sure that you are following Bells of Steel, and actually do this for me if you're watching this. whether you're watching on replay or whether you're watching it live or you're tuning in and you're at work just listening to it as you drive, go to the Bells of Steel Instagram, and that I'll put it up there, even though I'm sure you guys know it. So it's at Bells of Steel. Go on there and just pick out their most recent video and just drop a comment on there and let them know what you think of it, because they need the feedback. You guys see how much they enjoy getting your feedback. So drop some comments on there and let them know that I sent you, okay? Because that'll help me out, and it'll also help them out in terms of your feedback on the products, okay? But my last question is, you went to Ursa, you've been to a bunch of these types of things. You went to Ursa, you've been to the Arnold, but this is your first time at HomeGymCon. So based upon what Andrew and Kat and the other guys told you about it, what are your expectations going into it? Because, knowing it's going to be bigger than it was in year one.
I don't know. I'm expecting like a lot of more like kind of longer conversations and like more in depth, and like meeting more of the community. I guess what I think about is like these are like the people that are really into this stuff and almost like help guide like others, like when you're looking for like whatever product you're looking for. Let's say I'm buying a new laptop, like I'm going to the Reddit forums where the guys or the blog posts written by like the passionate, like the kind of, I don't know what word to use, but like the guys who are really into it and girls are really into it.
Yeah, these aren't casuals. These are people who really know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And even though they're super into it and like for a laptop, I maybe don't need whatever they're talking about. I'm just like looking to find a good laptop, and I trust their advice. I kind of see that as this is a way to like meet those people really at the forefront who, a lot of their opinion is widely regarded and accepted as like when people are doing their own research. So like, even though there's a lot less people there, it's going to be like the people who are helping like shape or like lead the industry. So getting that like hands-on feedback and face-to-face interaction, like I think a little bit like, as coming down from Canada, like a little bit of an outsider still. We're newer to the US market. We still don't have as much of a reputation maybe as the other brands. So it'd be good to like do that face-to-face. And I'm hoping special guests can make it and make it like more fun, and also if Adam, our engineer, could come over too, like I think that'd be really cool for people to see and meet and have him like receive live feedback. As same with the other designer that's coming, like have this live feedback happening on prototypes and just like products in general. It's gonna be really good for product development in the future. And then for the actual show itself, yeah, I'm kind of like there's so many vendors there, and like we're all competitors with each other. Some of us have more beef than others, and some of us get along more than others.
Okay, so let me just tell you right now, as far as beef goes, I'm not trying to instigate anything, but let's say hypothetically you guys start enacting that dance scene from West Side Story where the different gangs saw each other and they started dancing. I was
gonna say Anchorman too, but
yeah, well, I'm a little older than Yeah, that's right. I would love to see you guys and the guys from Rep Fitness, doing like the West Side Story dance battle. I'm not saying it's got to happen. I'm just saying that if you want it to happen, I'll have cameras there and I'll make sure I get it. I'll make it as famous as I can. You have my word on that.
But the two guys I've interacted with the most, and that I get along with the most, is Peter Keller from Fringe Sport. We were actually hanging out at Ursa, and like we probably hung out for an hour just chatting and like talking shop. So I get along really well with Peter. And then the rep guys too. I stopped at their booth and I've chatted a bunch with I think the owner Shane maybe, or Shane or Ryan. I get them anyways. Chat a bunch with them. So I was like at the rep booth, just like trying their cardio stuff and like shooting the shit with their employees. Like they're really nice. and I think they're doing really cool things. And Peter's a great guy too. Don't know too much about kind of the others out there. I shouldn't be speaking. I'm leaving anyone hanging. But yeah, those two have had a lot of positive interaction with. And I think we all have like a very aligned like mission of what we're trying to do. And I think at the end of the day, we're all like really trying to focus on, you know, serving the end consumer better. Whereas the history that I come from, you know, back in the early days when I worked for fitness stores, and some of these like legacy companies, I won't name any. I won't name any. There's probably not anything for me like distinctly named, but like a lot of these like old legacy companies are just, you know, it's just a job. It's just a business. Like they're just trying to make money and whatever, which is fine. But I think when you compare that to say, you know, our mission or maybe Rap's mission or Fringe mission, where they're like actively living this lifestyle and like actively trying to improve whatever the fitness and strength journey, as opposed to just like this is a company and I'm just here to make money. I think it makes a big difference in the quality of products and the interaction with the company you have, and like and the products designs that they put out, and even just like you know, your style. I don't know what their employee work culture is like, but I know for us, like it's, you know, you're not just coming to work trying to make money for your boss. You're coming to work because you're like passionate about fitness and like improving that industry. So yeah, I think it makes a world of difference compared to the company I used to work for and kind of a lot of the legacy companies that were around, the brick and mortars that were just, you know, out for the money. It was a business then. Yeah.
Well, my man, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you jumping in with me. I hope I can get you to come back on. And in fact, since we'll both be at HomeGymCon, I'm going to be broadcasting from HomeGymCon. Oh, okay. This show happens every Friday, okay? I don't care what else is going on. It's happening every Friday. So before I let you go, I'm inviting you. I'll stay in touch with you. So let's see if we can work it out. Maybe I can get you up early again to come down, hang out with me during the show on Friday live. And if anybody has any questions or anything like that, you can do questions with Kaevon that day as well. Before that, because we'll be done. I'll be done before the expo actually opens. So
okay.
Yeah, so we'll be. I promise. I don't want to miss anything. So we'll be done before the expo opens. So yeah, maybe I can get you to come in, man. But I really do appreciate you being here, my man. Everybody, go and follow Kaevon at Bells of Steel on Instagram, and you want to make sure you check out the Bells of Steel website. That is www.bellsofsteel.us, and they've got some of the best products for the home gym community. I got some of them in my gym right now. The Bare Naked Power Bar is legit. Got the Open Trap Bar. I'm a huge fan. So, Kaevon, thank you so much, my man. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, see you next time, sir.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, man.
All right.
Later. All right, man. Later. Bye. Okay, and so we are going to go rolling right into our second guest. Our second guest is the man. You know him. You love him. You've heard of him. My man, Ashton Ferrazo from Fitness Equipment.
What's up, buddy?
Ashton, come on down. What's up, man? What's up?
Oh, not much, man. Just living the life, you know. How are you?
How do I sound?
You sound good.
All right. I sound a lot better than I did when my voice just departed on me. Man, I appreciate you being here with us. You know, I'm always I was about to say delighted, but that doesn't sound like the most masculine emotion. So I'm stoked. I'm always stoked. You know, I deepen my voice a little bit. I'm always stoked to have you on
good
with me.
See you, man.
Yeah, man. So what's been up with over at Freedom Fitness Equipment HQ? What's going on with you?
We're slammed. It's been, we've been really, really busy. March is basically balls to the wall. We're booked out about a month on jobs and equipment and all that fun stuff, and we keep on getting more stuff. I was actually heard you talking with Kaevon. We were just at IRSA as well, trying to talk to a few more vendors about distributing their products. And I don't know if folks who are listening know this, but we do distribute Bells of Steel products. So we've got some of their bumpers right here. And I'm looking at getting some of their.
Let me give you the big, because you just, there you go. So those are their bumpers right
Yep.
There.
So let's see. Right here we got their bumpers. They're
Let's go.
fantastic. And we're thinking about stocking some of their safety squat bars with the spider handles, which I really like. And we're starting to sell more of their crash pads, which are really nice.
Nice.
So
Nice.
they make good stuff.
They do. I wasn't joking when I said that I love their open trap bar.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of it, and the balance is great. It's a little bit wonky because the sleeves are shorter. So when you load the plates on just one side, it tends to tip. I mean, but that's not a big issue. I actually had to do a video where I was demonstrating how to get the plate off the sleeve when the plate tilts, because I was like seeing people struggle, like, oh, how do you get this off? And I was like, well, you don't slide the plate off, you slide the trap bar out of the plate.
Yeah.
And that's how you get it off, right? And but other than that, man, I really think it's a great product. It's balanced very well from front to back, which can be an issue because I've seen people with, I won't name names, but it rhymes with Iden, and they've had a trap bar where it's not balanced well from front to back. And I was actually standing there watching somebody, and he's putting the weight down, and because it's unbalanced, it hit him in the foot. Because it's not balanced well. Yeah. And it was just like, and it was about 500 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's not a good day at all.
No.
But that's enough of a dang product, what you call it, for freaking companies I don't like. All right. Shout out to Bells of Steel. No shout out to that other company I don't like at all. Not even one little bit. You can't convince me. I won't be talked into it. I refuse. All right. So let's go. But that's an excellent segue because I'm a professional. Ashton, what's the absolute worst piece of home gym equipment that you have seen this year?
Man.
I've got it. I'm taking bets. And you guys put in the comments, if you've been following Ashton on Instagram, which you should be, at Freedom Fitness Equipment 1, then do you think that Ashton's least favorite piece of home gym equipment is the ProForm treadmill, or is it something else? All right. So tell me what you hate and tell me why it sucks.
All right. So yes, that, but so I'm big in the commercial equipment space, which I love people using for their home gyms. So I'm gonna go that direction because ProForm and Nordic Track are way too easy to beat up on, and I could do that all day. What I wanted to show you guys is something that ends up becoming more of a bottle holder or a coat hanger than anything else, and that is the GHD. So this is actually by Wilder GHD. Fitness. This is really nice.
All right.
Let's see if I can get this in this frame here. Yeah. So this is a GHD, which is, for those of you who are into CrossFit, it basically works back muscles, lower body, and gives the ability to go back and do extensions, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Very, very popular at one point in time in the CrossFit community, and it has since faded in favorability. You won't hardly find these at any CrossFit gym anymore. They are gigantic, and these in particular are huge because they're collegiate, so they take up a ton of space because they have band peg attachments and a bunch of other accessory pieces.
And what brand is that?
I know
that's Wilder.
Wilder Fitness, yeah. So they're based out of, gosh, actually, I think they went out of business.
So is that the only one in existence? You can only get it from Freedom Fitness Equipment.
It might be.
Jack the Bright is the only one.
Yeah, I know. It's a nice piece, and they just take up a ton of room. So Bells of Steel makes a really nice, I think it's a hybrid combo. So it's like a reverse hyper GHD, or a couple of different things. That I would prefer over this, just because this does one thing. And if you watch any of my videos, I'm not a huge fan of pieces that are just exclusively for one body part, or because most people don't have the room. So stay away from stuff like this. I hate it for a couple of reasons. It's a terrible seller. We can't make any money on it. And most people don't, when they buy it, it ends up taking an enormous amount of space, and they don't end up using it. So stay away at all costs. This is just absolutely insane as far as like space constrictions, and it's also very relatively heavy. So avoid at all costs. I know I say this to my detriment because I need to sell it, but don't get it.
Well, let's go ahead. So we actually have a question in the chat from my guy Jared. He said he wants you to talk a little bit about your brand because he's not familiar with you. and you guys occupy a unique niche in the fitness equipment industry in that you don't make stuff.
Right.
Instead, you are a distributor. So go ahead and talk about your brand.
That's a great
for
introduction.
fitness.
So, Freedom Fitness Equipment started about 3 or 4 years ago in my backyard. We are, for lack of a better term, resellers. If you think about a car dealership, that's exactly what we do, just for fitness equipment. So, car dealerships sell new cars, used cars, cars that have warranties. We do almost the exact same thing, just in the fitness equipment space. So, we'll sell Life Fitness Precore, Matrix, major brands that you've heard up in the commercial side, and then a lot of home gym brands that still are commercial grade, like Bells of Steel, Frey Fitness, for example, Body Solid, that kind of thing. We have a little bit of residential equipment. Very, very, a couple of times we'll come across this kind of stuff. There's an example of our website, and we're basically a distributor. So new equipment, used equipment. And then locally or regionally, we're also a full service shop. So we can do service, maintenance, installation, repair, extraction, anything that you would need from a commercial standpoint. And we still do a lot of work with home gyms. So the reason why our business has been successful is because we do a lot of work with like these guys, military, fire, EMS, first responders. But we're big on social media. And I really push hard for people to get commercial grade gym equipment in their home gyms because it lasts about 10 times longer. So I try to get people to come into our space who haven't heard of us before and introduce them to a lot of commercial grade stuff that you just don't see at other organizations. So yeah, new and used gym equipment, distributor. And then if you're local, we do full service. So maintenance, installation, repair, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good one. Shout out to Drew because he just bought something. I saw the pop up.
Awesome.
Right there. Yeah. Shout out to Drew. It popped up on the thing. It says Drew just purchased whatever. So I'm like, oh, shout out to Drew. All right. Supporting the American economy. All right.
There you go.
There you go, Drew. What I like about what you guys do is you're like, so I'm a big fan of Played Against Sports.
Yeah.
But you guys are a more specific, but they have a bunch of stuff. You know, you go and you buy baseball equipment, wrestling shoes for your kid, whatever. Whereas you guys are more specific to what I'm really interested in, which is fitness equipment.
Yeah.
And you know what you're saying about used commercial stuff. Well, I mean, that's what I grew up on because when I started my home gym in 2001, that's all we had. You know, I mean, Iron Mind was around, but they didn't really have a very good way to distribute stuff to you. So you weren't necessarily able to get all their stuff. New York Barbell, they were around, but they didn't really advertise. So you didn't know how to get in touch with them. So if you wanted something, you went on, well, when I started a home gym, you go in the newspaper. You look at the classifieds and then you ask people at work and I got my first stuff from Played Against Sports, but I like stuff like what you have because it's kind of that vibe. It's stuff that works, it's commercial grade, and you're able to sell it at a reduced rate because of how much you get, which is how I got my power rack that's downstairs right now that I'm customizing as we speak, assuming they actually get my stuff here that I'm waiting for. But I said I'm not going to go back to that dark place to talk about shipping anymore. I'm not going to do that for the rest of the day. I'm not getting back in the recliner range. If you guys want to see me lash out, go ahead and just hit rewind and go back into the recliner rage segment, and you'll see me just lash straight out at UPS.
Oh, God. Right? Let me tell you.
Oh, you got a UPS story?
Oh, my word, dude.
I will give you the big screen because we're angry at UPS today.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So if UPS is listening to this, screw you guys.
Oh, wow. Let's go. Go for
it. So UPS has destroyed and lost more packages than I can count for our business. FedEx is no better. Let me just clarify. But UPS is the best of the worst. But you guys have got to fit. Like, I don't know if it's the fact that they're unionized or what. I'm not trying to like curl leg extensions. Let me give you an example. It comes in 2 boxes. It's a large box and then a very small box. The small box never gets lost. It's very light. It's easy to ship. The large box is heavy, about 89 pounds, and we wrap, strap, and then wrap again and send it via UPS. You would think nobody in their right mind could possibly destroy a box that's been wrapped in like commercial cling film, strapped with like filament tape, and then wrapped again. No, it arrived at a client, opened, destroyed, like completely destroyed. Like somebody had taken a forklift, run it up against the box, and smashed it into a wall. Yeah. And these guys carry this stuff by hand. So I've seen guys take air conditioners. I have a video of it on my channel, and they are rolling it down our front lawn, just rolling the box down the front lawn by hand.
So yeah, so basically you are right in line with my rants from earlier, because my wife, so we get stuff shipped to us all the time, and my wife works from home, so they don't necessarily realize she's able to see them, and she's seen them just throw stuff off the back of the truck.
Yes.
And I'm like, come on, man. Seriously, your only purpose in life is to get the package to me undamaged. That's the only reason why your company exists and why you have a job.
Yeah.
So, okay, whatever.
Two things I'll clarify. Our rep is fantastic. She takes care of us. Shout out to Holly. And the UPS driver that was taking care of our specific facility for a while was fantastic. Since then, he's moved on, which I hate. We've had like 3 or 4 guys, but he was fantastic. That's what makes it bad,
because you have somebody who's good, and then they move on or they get promoted, and then whoever replaces them, you're like, come on, man. Yeah. Where'd they find you?
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's the rant. And you guys, if you want to go ahead and drop some hatred on whatever shipping provider has made you mad the most recently, put that in the comments. That's fine by me. We do have some comments for you. Yep. So it said, my man Andrew from GoRX said you should hit up Brian Fleck and wait it out, because he's teaming up with retailers. And I know you're familiar with him, to distribute his new thin bumper plates. So yeah, go ahead, and I think that's a really good recommendation. Have you already talked to him?
I have. So so I'm on the fence about distributing his product. He's doing really, really well, and I love the thin bumpers. I usually try to get to a certain price point with most of that stuff, and I honestly, his market is going to be competitive lifters who want really thin bumper plates to be able to stack on the bar, which I think is great. But at least at this time, we rarely come across the super competitive power lifter groups who need like calibrated kilo plates and that kind of thing. And if we had more of those, I definitely would stock the product. That's not to say that we won't ever. I think we probably will at some point. We just need to get bigger. I love what Brian's doing, though. I think that product is insanely unique, and I love that he made the thin plate into a bumper plate. That was like that's thinner than even the calibrated plates that they sell. They have for Olympic lifting. That was awesome.
Well, so let me just tell you, it's a matter, and this actually is a really good thing, because the issue really is that we got to get your name out there more. All right. I mean, I realize you have like 4 gajillion subscribers on YouTube, but I'm not even making that up. All right. If you go look at Freedom Fitness on YouTube, on their YouTube channel, just brace yourself and prepare for how many subscribers he's got. But the reality is that no matter how many subscribers you have, there's still people who don't know about you.
Yeah.
Because so like USA Powerlifting says that they have 25,000 members in the US, right? So obviously those people are lifting on something.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I know that for me, I'm using the normal pound plates because I'm looking at, well, what's the cost for me to get these thinner plates, right? And that's the big obstacle. Is like, well, yeah, I'd love to get kilo plates because they're thinner because of what you said, right? Because it's, you can only stack so much on the bar. And but then I'm like, well, I got these iron plates already and they're doing the job, it's, whatever. Yeah. So I think that that's the big thing, is like making it continue to be cost effective, but then getting the word out there that the product exists.
Yeah.
And then, and I think that'll help take care of that. He said the product you were talking. So Jared said the product you were talking about from Bells of Steel is the Reverse Hammer 2.0.
Yeah.
He agrees that it is legit.
Yeah.
All right. So now here is my second question. We've already trashed what you hate. Now tell me what you love. What's the piece of equipment that you find yourself recommending the most so far in 2024? And why do you love it? Why do you love it?
We just brought this to a convention here in Charlotte, and this is not necessarily specific to firefighters, but firefighters really like it because it's super solid. This is the Endurance Climber by Body Solid. So this is a full climber, very, very sturdy. And essentially what it is it's a ladder and a stepper in one. So these handles go up and down. You just kind of climb like you would kind of up the side of a mountain, or you can put your hands here, on either side and use it as a regular stepper. Yeah. I've recommended.
I remember when this came out, it was the Versa Climber was the first one that came out.
Correct.
And now you got different. So now Body Solid has one. Okay.
So Versa Climber is an American-made product. They sell theirs for it's insane. It's $5,000 starting price. Well,
that's because they have to pay for the commercials,
right?
Because the commercials are on late night TV all the time. Yeah, that's not cheap. So go ahead. Yeah.
And it's also, so I've had multiple complaints from people who have, like gym owners that have owned the Versa Climber, because their design is a T, which means the front is stable, but the back wobbles. So I've had a trainer that said he has to put his hand on the side of the Versa Climber when his clients are using it because it'll actually tip over. This is not a T. If you see the base there, it's a U in the front and then straight across in the back. It doesn't move. Nice. So the Versa Climber's $5,000 starting. It can go up to about 8 or 10. This one, $1,500. It is amazing. It's got more features than the base model Versa. It's a commercial grade product. And if you are short on cash and you want a Jacob's ladder or you want a stair climber like a Stairmaster, those are going to run you at a minimum $2,500 to $3,000 if you find them on a used market. If you can find them on the used market. For my money, for a home gym, if you want something that's compact, that's affordable, that Versa Climber, that Climber by Body Solid is absolutely the way to go. It doesn't take up a lot of space. It's vertical, not horizontal room. And you can do a couple of different things with it.
And it folds up too. I've got a
there you go.
It's not that brand, but I've got one downstairs and it folds right up. So you can stick it in a corner. I mean, it almost occupies the amount of space a broom would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's very compact.
This is my favorite piece. I've been subbing out, like if I've ever gotten requests for Jacob's ladders or stair climbers, and I know if I know the client doesn't have the funds, I'll just sub this out and I'll just go, look, this will take care of you more than enough for what you need.
Okay, nice. Okay.
Yeah, it's got adjustable. Adjustable distance on here, the regular display. Some of the Versa climbers don't have even all of these features. You can move these handles to different positions. And then let's see, you've got your straps on the bottom here. It all plugs in. It's super easy to use.
Yeah. I like it. I want to circle back for a second. We were talking about shipping providers. And because you guys also offer a delivery and install.
Yeah.
And this is when I'm going to shout them out. I told these guys when they brought my rack, I was going to shout them out every chance. If I had to manufacture reasons to shout them out, I would, because they did excellent work. So I don't have any idea how to say this, but it's Leanad. Let me put it up here. All right. Leanad Enterprises, my man, Earl Daniel, the legend himself. He looks just like the RZA from Wu-Tang Clan, and that's always a plus. I told him that too. I said, man, you look like the RZA. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah. My wife was like, yeah, you kind of look like, yeah. And, but they brought the stuff, they installed it. It was so easy. Yeah. And I know that for some home gym owners, the assembly process is part of the fun, but there are other people, in other age brackets, that's not their jam. They're like, man, I want it to be put together. So I want to use it. I don't want to put it together. I don't want that part of the adventure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm in the Lord of the Rings, I would like to go to sleep and wake up at the foot of the mountain, and I could walk up there and drop the ring in there and then send me an eagle, get me out of there. I'm not interested in that long walk. That's not what I'm into. Okay. I don't like that. Yep. And so I get that. So I really got a shout out. Like I said, you guys have Earl. He delivered the stuff probably a week ahead of when I expected it. And so I'm a huge fan of that. But I'm going to connect you with somebody who is a home gym setup person, and he's in LA. He's in California. All right. That way, if anybody is in the situation and you're like, this is like what you guys, I think there'll be some synergy there.
Awesome.
Because he can go set up for you. Do you have people? Is that how you're able to do the installation thing? You have people who just like,
So we actually got our own crew that goes up and down the East Coast. So we'll go down as far as like the kind of the edge of Florida, and then all the way up to, like topmost part of Virginia to do installs. If it's just like a single client, sometimes we can find somebody locally we can recommend. But we need to create long term, we need to create a service provider network. That way we can just outsource that and have somebody in every state for everybody that we ship to.
Yeah, that's the thing, because you have it. It says you deliver internationally.
Yes, we do. Yeah. So we haven't had a lot of clients ask for this, but we can deliver anywhere in the world. And it would usually be on a container. And yeah, we can ship one piece. The ideal situation is obviously a full container load if you're in, say, Dubai. But yeah, no, we can technically ship anywhere in the US. We have a freight company and a broker, and they're fantastic. So we could go anywhere.
That's outstanding, because we do have people from the UK who are listening in,
Yeah.
and so I wanted to make sure we didn't actually get a chance to talk about that last time you were on. So I wanted to make sure that we brought that up too.
Yep.
So last question I have is, I want you to react to this piece of information that I'm going to give you. I'm a journalist, and it's my job to break news. So I'm breaking news right now. Okay, I'm breaking news right now. In fact, here, let's make it a. Okay, breaking news. The yoga mat global market is growing beyond people's previous expectations. Apparently, it's predicted to reach 18.23 billion in 2028. All right, that's only 4 years from now. The compound annual growth rate of 8.1%. Does this affect your inventory plans for the next quarter? Because you got to get ahead of this.
Yeah, I saw that stat, and I don't know where in the world that's coming from. I have not seen the demand for any of that. I've seen demand for other stuff, strength equipment, certain types of cardio, particularly treadmills, yoga. I mean, I've probably sold fewer yoga mats this year and like late last year than I ever have. So
okay, so let's stop right there. Is it because it could? So I'm just thinking now. You know how like you go to if I go to a karate class school,
yeah,
I don't expect to buy a laptop there.
Mm.
Not saying they couldn't sell laptops. Okay, notice I didn't use a barbershop, because I don't know how white barbershops are, but you go to a black barbershop, you can get DVDs there, you can get you can get oils, cologne, you can get clothes, there's all kind of stuff. All right,
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I'm saying, like, you go to, it's like what people's expectations are with your normal clientele. Your normal clientele is probably guys who like lifting weights, not necessarily people who are into.
No, I mean, we've got a mix. So we and we do get requests for like yoga and like light training studios or women's gyms and that kind of thing. So our clientele's kind of all over the place, even commercially. I just don't see the demand. And I was thinking about this because I was curious where that number might be going. And yeah, it's a global number, but also I think there's a lot of sellers on Amazon that are selling very inexpensive yoga mats, which might be why we're not seeing, or some of these commercial guys aren't, like, because here's the thing. Not only do we sell our own product, but we do a lot of work as a sub for other large organizations. And even in those organizations, they're not quoting out yoga mats, not nearly to the scale that I would think based on those numbers. So I think Amazon's got a lock on very inexpensive products like that. And that might be what's driving a lot of this. So that there's probably a good amount of sales volume through retailers like Amazon, because yoga mats are very inexpensive to make, and the margins are, I think, pretty good, depending on how many you're banging out. So they might be taking up most of that revenue. But maybe there's a market I'm not seeing. I could be totally wrong about that. I don't know. Maybe it's just in the home gym space too. Like normally if somebody's coming to me for a mat, I'll quote them on a nice commercial mat and they'll be like, I'll just go to Amazon. I've heard that a lot. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like people are like, well, I'll go here. So I've got that link so you can see the yoga mat report, get updated with what's going on in the world of yoga mat inflation. But it's in the chat if anybody wants to see it.
That's crazy.
That's just what it's the last thing I expected.
Yeah.
But it was on PR. It was on PR Newswire. I was like, that's okay. Yoga mats, really? Okay. But then I started thinking about it. I said, well, you know what? Okay, I can see that, because they're combining people buying it from Walmart, people getting it from, like you said, Amazon, people getting it off of some as an add-on because they're buying something else.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, and get a yoga mat with it. You know what I mean? That kind of
Yeah.
thing. So there's some, and then they're probably also including yoga studios
Right.
that are buying mats for the purposes of outfitting their customers and all that. So that's it. Well, Ashton, man, I appreciate you being on here. I promise you I wouldn't keep you super, super long.
Yeah.
But before you go, I want you to feel free to promote anything that you've got going on. You'll be at HomeGymCon as well. So if anybody, so Jared's going to be there. So I'll make sure, Jared, if you come find me, and if you haven't found Ashton by the time you see me, I will walk you over to Ashton and I will introduce you to Ashton because he is a good dude to know. And then you guys can kind of like work out. But I'm happy to connect you with everybody. But in the meantime, go ahead, promote anything you've got going on. If you want people to, wherever you want people to reach out to you, I know you get your phone number right there. So the floor is yours.
Awesome. I appreciate it. So freedomfitnessequipment.com. You can see all of our inventory. If you have any questions specifically for me, text me at 980-216-4860. I'd love to help you guys out. I also like doing walkthroughs like this. I'd like to be able to do more of these if you guys are looking for something specific. So really appreciate the time with being able to help everybody out here. And as far as our product line, it just continues to expand. We've got some stuff coming up that we're pulling out of actually a plastic surgery center in Charleston, which I'm excited about. So we got some almost new commercial equipment coming in. But yeah, check us out, freedomfitnessequipment.com. Love to help you guys out if anybody's listening.
Nice. Yeah, so Jared said he is in, so I look forward to introducing the two of you guys to each other. That's going to be a good time.
Awesome.
Well, man, so before you go, I'm going to let everybody know that Ashton, I mentioned that Ashton is going to be here every, or maybe I didn't, but Ashton is going to be here at least once a month. We're going to bring him in, and he's going to be doing stuff like this. But we were talking about a cool idea, or at least I think it's cool. So I'm going to bring it to you guys, see if you like it. And that is, if you're setting up a home gym, you guys can do that live. You can come on, you bring your requests or whatever, and we'll pick out maybe 2 or 3, and we'll bring them on, and Ashton will look for stuff for you live so people get to see the process. But if you want to see his process demonstrated with me, I'll put the link to the previous video when he was, the previous time he was on here, where he helped me find a power rack, and you guys will be able to go through the process with him and see how he actually did it, because it was really cool. And like I said, I'm really super satisfied with it. I appreciate all your support, my man. Thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to talking to you again later.
Sounds good, man. See ya.
All right, man. Thank you. All right. So that was my guy, Ashton Ferrazo, who is a sponsor for this program. You guys make sure that you check out Freedom Fitness Equipment. As we were mentioning, if you want to hook up your home gym, turn it into the best gym in town. We still have, so what you've missed is we had Bells of Steel founder Kaevon Khoozani was on, and that was an outstanding conversation. He talked a lot about what he has coming up with Bells of Steel, both at their HomeGymCon booth and just in general. We talked about some of the decisions he's made over the past year in terms of recalibrating the company and how he's deciding, what they need to carry at Bells of Steel. Gave some insight into why they discontinued certain products that people may have been fans of. And so that is something, if you are just now tuning in, you make sure that you check that out, as well as we just had Ashton Ferrazo from Freedom Fitness Equipment, and he was talking about his favorite and least favorite pieces of home gym equipment. So if you are just now joining us, go ahead and use that rewind function to go back and check out both of those interviews, because you do not want to miss them. And then I have coming up, it is now 8:38, so I have missed my wake up. Welcome to both the Central and the Mountain time zone. So shout out to the Central and Mountain time zones. Welcome to the Way Too Early for a Friday podcast. This is the only fitness morning show in the world, if I may say so myself, because I haven't found any. In fact, even Morning Chalk Up, which is a very good program, but Morning Chalk Up is actually an evening program. They upload it at 8 p.m. at night. 8 p.m. Eastern at night. So this is the only actual live fitness morning show in existence. Please help me out, get the word out about it. Let people know that we exist. If you like this, please hit that like button for me and subscribe. If you subscribe, share this content with somebody who you know would enjoy checking this out, because I'm here every Friday morning from 6 a.m. Eastern time to 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. That way I can tell all of you guys good morning. All right, now we're going to go back into our segments that we were doing with the we already did the home gym workouts. The first one, we did one featuring the Kurt Locker, and I want to make sure I finish those up because we also have there's a topic I want to cover with you guys before we are joined by our last guest of the day, who is Jarvina Routt. She is a Highland Games world champion, and she trains in a home gym. So let's go ahead and jump right back into home gym workouts. Okay, so home gym workouts. Our next home gym workout is by my guy, Garage Power, and he's normally part of the dance party videos, but this time my man was a little bit too busy to make dance videos because he was too busy hitting the PR. So celebrate with me and my guy, Garage Power. This is the lifetime PR. He's been waiting to be able to deadlift 405, and he did it yesterday. Shout out to you, my man. There's nothing like a deadlift PR. Good, strong pull, stood up with it, held it for a little bit so you know it's not a fluke. Got it done. I'm a huge, huge fan of that. Huge fan of that. All right, my man, I wish you nothing but success, continued PRs in that home gym. I love seeing people get stronger. So once again, you guys want to make sure you follow him on Instagram at garage_power. And now here is the final one. This one comes from and then this is also going to be something that's a little bit of a question and answer thing for you guys. All right. So this one comes from 12-time all-time world record holder, 10-time powerlifting champion, Stacia Cambra. All right. And this post is actually her reacting to a comment on one of her posts. Okay. So her original post is her deadlifting conventional. That's right. And normally when you see Stacia deadlift, she's deadlifting sumo. So first of all, she deadlifts sumo and conventional in training, and she competes in sumo on the platform. And you hear people all the time talk about sumos, this, sumos, that. But what I love about this is someone made a comment, said there's no practical application for the deadlift, for the conventional deadlift in any sport or activity. It's only the risk of injury. And Stacia posted it because she responded to the comment. Now, before I tell you what she said, go ahead, drop your reactions to that. Is there a practical application for the conventional deadlift outside of sports where conventional deadlifting is the thing being tested? So in powerlifting, if you do a conventional deadlift, we are testing you to see how much you can conventional deadlift. In the sport of strongman, you're only allowed to do a conventional deadlift, even though some people kind of try to do a hybrid style, a la the great Ed Cohen, but basically your hands have to be outside of your thighs. So it's even if your feet are wider apart, your hands have to be outside your thighs. So it's still technically a conventional deadlift in the sport of strongman. And in the sport of CrossFit, they also only do conventional deadlifts. But as you guys can see here, as Stacia is pulling in this conventional deadlift with some chains out there at 50 barbell, which is an awesome facility that we have a tour of here on the YouTube channel that I will link to for you guys to check out. But you can literally just go on my home gym tour playlist and check and look for outdoor gyms, and 50 barbell is in there. But picking up a side of the couch. Okay, here is the thing. When you pick up the side of the couch, are your feet together like in a conventional deadlift? The answer to that is no. Your feet are apart, and your hands are between your legs. So that's actually a sumo deadlift. It may not be an extreme sumo deadlift like you see a lot of the Russian lifters do, but you're doing a sumo deadlift because your hands are inside your thighs. Also, let's look at some of the other athletic positions that require a sumo deadlift because we listed them, right? So every sports position, guarding an opponent in basketball, first thing you do, you widen your legs out. Your hands are between your legs because that is a good, strong base. If you are defending a shot, somebody's trying to take you down in wrestling, what do? You widen your base. All right. Your hands are inside your legs. Now, they're not down low, but you're inside your legs. So that's essentially a sumo squat, sumo deadlift position. And I actually specifically looked at lifting the corner of your couch or picking up anything. Your legs are far apart. So if your legs are apart and your hands are inside your legs, inside your thighs, that is a sumo deadlift position. You could argue that at a certain point in the lift, it's maybe more of a zercher, depending on what you're picking up. Definitely not a couch. But if you're picking up a TV set or something, your legs are going to be far apart. But the only sports application I could come up with that uses the conventional deadlift position is the broad jump. That's the only thing I could think of that uses the conventional deadlift position, and that would be the standing broad jump. I thought maybe if you are going up for a rebound in basketball and you're already under the rim, so you're not taking a step. But even if you take a step, your feet come together, then you jump in the air, or maybe the high jump. But even that is not actually a conventional deadlift position, because the way you do a conventional deadlift, because of that hinge, it's actually going to propel you. It's propelling you forward, not necessarily up. It looks like it's up because of, you're deadlifting. So you have a bar. When you're actually deadlifting, the bar is going up in a straight line. But the action of your hips, if you didn't have a bar in your hands, would actually propel you sort of forward and up at an angle. So Anand says diving. Okay. So you bend. So let's analyze that. So you bend over on the high dive, and then you come up, you take a jump and you go up in the air. All right. I'm thinking it through. You might be right, Anand. So you start out and one foot goes up in the air, and then you kind of like bounce that, and then you go up in the air, you come up off the high dive, and you go down. Okay, so there you go. Diving. I think you have it, which is similar to what I was saying, like with the rebound thing. But yeah, so diving. But sumo wrestling, that's where the name sumo deadlift came from. There's so many people, I see so much hate for sumo deadlifting, and people say, oh, this is not, there's no practical application and there's no real world application to the sumo deadlift. When in life are you ever going to spread your legs apart and pick up something? I'm like, even picking up an Atlas stone is a sumo deadlift, because you pick it up, then you bring your legs together to lap it. But you cannot pick it up with your legs together, or else you won't be able to actually pick up the stone, just because of how a stone is built. Oh, by the way, Home Gym Tech, I did see your comment where you said you'd be interested in joining the installation network. I'm going to connect you guys. I got your information. I'll connect you with Ashton from Freedom Fitness. It's my pleasure. I'll be happy to do that. So that is that's just something I was thinking about. It got my attention because we have so much of this beef going. It's kind of silly. Beef going back and forth between the sumo deadlift and the conventional deadlift crowd about whether or not this is legitimate or that's legitimate. Reality is, if you're lifting, right? Exactly. So Kurt Locker has a great comment. He said there's absolutely carryover. The issue is not the deadlift. It's the coaching associated with deadlifting in sport. 100% agree with that, because you have so many people, especially at the high school level, like you basically just get whoever is like one of the football coaches that has time, and he's like the de facto strength coach for the high school. Unless you're one of those bigger high schools, like Blair Academy, that can afford to pay somebody like Zach Evanesh to come out and be a strength coach for your athletes. You likely just have whoever's got some spare time that is associated with football team, and they're basically the strength coach for the school. So you don't even know what kind of background that guy has as a strength coach, and so there's that. So anyway, once again, the home, what are you doing in your house? Home workout segment is powered by G-Code Nutrition. It helps you weather the storm and dominate every day. And make sure that you go check out G-Code, shop.gcodenutrition.com, and you want to hit that promo code Best Gym in Town so that you can save 10%. And also you'll be able to support this program. Help me pay for a new microphone. I need a new microphone so I can give y'all some better audio quality. All right, now we're going to go right into, we got to go rapid fire because the show is getting ready to end. And I want to make sure we get these done before Jarvina comes on, because I don't want to take any time away from her. But hey, if you guys have comments, if you guys want to hang out here, talk about the deadlift thing, I'm happy to talk about it too. So Kurt says the posterior musculature is heavily involved in a lot of sports, especially in sports where change of direction is vital, or where there's force applied to an athlete and they have to resist. Yeah, 100%. That's why I use the examples I used. So the resisting stuff in the what you call stuffing a shot in wrestling. Somebody tries to take you down, they're gonna typically they're gonna go to one knee and shoot in the shot position, and they're gonna try to isolate one leg or the other. But if they're able to double leg you because your legs are together, you're about to have a bad day. So first thing people do is they spread their base out so that you cannot just take them down easily. And then also, like I said, something like in a sport like where you're guarding somebody in basketball, you've got your hands up and you're going to spread your legs apart wider because you're trying to prevent, you're not just guarding the guy, you're also trying to prevent them or impede their progress in trying to come forward. So you got a nice, strong, wide base, and you got to be able to change direction quickly because you don't know where that point guard or whatever is going to go. And if you get your feet are too close together, that is an excellent way to make it to the highlights on SportsCenter where you're the one getting embarrassed. So people widen their base out if they're defending somebody. All right, let's go to the next thing. And I wanted to make sure I bring this in. This is a new segment. All right. It's called Home Gym Channels You've Never Heard Of. Okay. And I wanted to bring this up because this is something that's been bothering me for quite some time. I am a home gym owner. I've been a home gym owner for over 20 years. I enjoy home gym content. And what I find is that if you are on a platform like YouTube, as great as it is, I love YouTube and what it's been able to do for me and my brand, but YouTube does not do a good job of showing me the content I want. And so there are a lot of really good home gym channels that you'll never know about, even though they're successful. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys one. Today, the YouTube algorithm is just horrible. So I'm going to show you guys one. So today's channel you should watch is Midas Movement. All right, Midas Movement is a channel that you should have heard of, but you haven't because of the algorithm. And Midas Movement has, as of today, he has 915,000 subscribers. But if you have ever heard of Midas Movement, actually, we won't even go that way because I won't get anything. Put in the chat if you've never heard of Midas Movement before. All right, 915,000 subscribers with a bunch of content. It's all filmed in his home gym. Yes, he has home gym reviews. He's also got home gym videos where you're working out. There are home gym workout videos. He's got stuff for beginners. He's got dumbbell only. He's got all kinds of stuff here. He's got free workout plans, all kinds of stuff, and 20-minute ab circuit. Look, all this stuff is in his home gym. This is a home gym channel. And yet I'll bet you that most of the people who are tuning in today to this program have never heard of this dude, despite the fact that he has got, once again, 915,000 subscribers. Instead, you're getting stuff recommended to you from YouTube that may not have anything to do with stuff that you're actually interested in. I see all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm like, I don't even care about that. Like, for example, I'm not into lo-fi music for the background, right? But YouTube constantly wants to show that to me. I actually only see this kind of stuff, channels like this, because I go looking for them and I figured out different ways to search the algorithm to see the stuff I want to see. But I still don't always see everything. And so that is just something that's a pet peeve of mine. So that's why I said, you know what? I feel like it's my responsibility to connect all of you guys with stuff that'll help you in your home gym journey. That's part of my brand mission. And so part of that is telling you about channels that have the content that you need or that would at least be interesting to you. All right. So some of the stuff you guys see there, he's got a 45-day dumbbell build and burn workout. He's got some sample travel workouts. That right there is useful because sometimes we travel, you're in a hotel room, maybe the hotel gym doesn't have what you need. So what I normally do in those situations is I call it a deload week and I just try to do something, right? Well, he's got these sample travel workouts, got a 2-week abs challenge in case you just want to get something different, and you can use it as a bridge maybe between your current program and what you're going to be doing next. He's also got a nutrition playlist, stuff for beginners I mentioned. So I think that this is a channel that you guys should definitely check it out. It's here on YouTube. It's at Midas movement, MVMT. So you guys 100% go ahead and check it out. Okay. And now we are going to be having our next guest. Our third and final guest is going to be coming up here soon. And that is Jarvina Routt, who is a Highland Games athlete. She's highly accomplished Highland Games athlete. And let me see if I can't. I'll just show you some clips from her Instagram so you guys can see what she, kind of see what she's about. Because she's a world record holder. Okay. Trying to think. I don't know if she still holds the record for I don't know if she still holds the record for the furthest throw. But she's definitely got some good stuff here. So let me go ahead and I'll share the screen and let you guys kind of check her out while we wait for her to come on. All right. So this is her on Instagram. It's J Routt Thrower. And in fact, I'll go ahead and I'll put this banner here for you guys to see it. But this is her Instagram. So this is her doing some, let's find something that this is her working out in her home gym. Okay, doing some cleans right there. All right. No, can't get mad at that. That's pretty basic stuff. All right, and then let's see here. Let's go here. I want to get like some competition footage. Okay, so this is her in competition. She does more than Highland Games. She also does Moss wrestling too. So this is her, like, just kind of showing her journey. She started in 2015 as a high school track and field athlete, and she went from that to carrying a caber. All right. I mean, that if you've got daughters, I have a daughter, and this here, I mean, just the idea that women are not relegated to just one kind of training, one kind of sport. They're not limited. They can do a lot of things very, very well, and they can compete at the highest levels of their chosen sport if they put in the time. This right here is some of the best female throwers in the world right here. All right, and I just love the fact that she's representing for the sport of Highland Games. Here, so then this is the first video I saw from her, which is like she's like, "Do you need a spot?" And in the caption is like, "No, why would you even ask that? What do I need what I need a spot from you for?" I absolutely love it. And I said that she also does more than just Highland Games. So she does Moss wrestling. Okay. I'm sorry, this is not Moss. She does do Moss wrestling, but she also competes in arm lifting. All right. And I'm seeing if I can pull up some of her arm lifting competition stuff. There you go. So she's into grip sport. So this is her right there doing an arm lifting competition. She actually had an invite to the arm lifting championship at the Arnold, and she didn't do it because she was already scheduled to compete at a Highland Games event. But she was going to do Moss wrestling at the Arnold, this most recent Arnold, and so she did not do that. Instead, she had a previous commitment. But this event that she's doing here is basically you take a gripper and you have to squeeze it down with just one hand, and you hold a little bullet. And the idea is that you have to, you hold the thing, basically you hold it until it drops. All right. And that is something that that she is really not, she's getting into. That's her going to get her hair done, I guess. But yeah, so Jarvina is an outstanding athlete, and I cannot wait for you guys to learn more about her. If you are watching, this is a picture of her doing doing her thing. All right. Like I said, if you've got a daughter, how awesome would it be for your daughter to be able to compete in a sport where you've got the stands full of people watching her dominate? Okay. And I mean, dominate. That just, I mean, as a dad, there's nothing that would make me happier and prouder. I mean, I'm already proud of my daughter, but just knowing that she picks something that she loves, she pursues it, and then that other people appreciate her for who she is and what she does for her chosen sport, that's a big deal to me. So if you have questions, especially if you are not familiar with the Highland Games, this is your opportunity to go ahead and ask those questions. Go ahead. And I know that some of you guys is getting late, so some of you are having to start your workday. So go ahead and put those questions in the chat, and I will make sure that I ask Jarvina those questions. But to recap, she does Highland games. That's her main sport. She also does grip competitions, and she does the sport of Mas wrestling. So go ahead and drop any questions you have about getting started or anything you want to know about the Scottish Highland games, because I will ask Jarvina those questions when she joins the broadcast here in a few minutes. Then here I want to, in fact, let me go ahead. I don't want to make up lies here. All right. So while we wait, I'm going to tell you guys about what's coming up next week. We've got Don Giafardino from Addicts Clubs. He's going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about all things related to mace training, why his adjustable maces are superior. In my opinion, they are superior to many of the more well-known ones that are out there. And I say more well-known ones. So you've got the Shoulder Rock, and I've used the Shoulder Rock, and I've used the Addicts maces. And in my opinion, the Shoulder Rock is not as good a product as the Addicts mace. And I'm not getting paid to tell you guys that. But one of the main reasons why I prefer the Addicts mace and the Addicts clubs to the Shoulder Rock is the Shoulder Rock has a knurled handle. So if you've never done any kind of mace training, when you do mace training, the mace is going to rotate in your palm a little bit. And so having a knurled handle, it seems like it'd be a good idea because they won't slip out of your hand. But if you're doing high volume of swings, like 100, 200 swings like you need to, if you're going to get the full benefit out of mace training, that's going to chew your palms up. And that's why I prefer the Addicts maces and clubs, because they do not have knurling on the handle. So you're able to use it for a longer period of time before your hands get chewed up. But we live streamed a Vintage Strength Games competition where they used the Addicts clubs and Addicts maces, and they did so many swings that I'm talking about in the 500 range. That's nothing to get to 500 swings, that their hands were chewed up. And all the athletes there said they could not imagine using a Shoulder Rock because of how badly it would beat their hands up. And so if you are using, to me, if I'm using something just as an accessory movement, I don't want it to damage me to the point where I can't do my main stuff. You know what I mean? So to me, that's something that that's a design flaw in the Shoulder Rock. And I wish they would change it and just remove all that knurling, because that will make it a lot more user-friendly. I think the Shoulder Rock is a great concept. I love the adjustable club concept, but I wish they would change that, get rid of that knurling, because it makes it more user-friendly. Okay. Let's see. I've got some other stuff here to tell you guys about. Ditching your gym membership to get fitness advice from TikTok. I feel like maybe we can talk about that next week, unless you guys want to hear about that. If you want to hear about it, go ahead and drop a comment in the chat. Let me know, and I'll definitely jump into it. But, that's not necessarily something that we need to. It's not urgent. Okay, it's something that can keep. So instead, I'm going to go with something that I think is a little bit more important, because it actually came up recently and it affects everyone who's watching here. And that is scams. So you got a lot of brands. It popped up it's like a software alert type deal. I get a weekly email alerting me to scams that are out there, online scams, because of what I do, because so much of what I do is online. So anyway, so apparently this scam is coming back around, and it's basically brands that are preying on you. You know, you got an Instagram account, right? And they usually do it to people with smaller accounts. But what'll happen is they'll shoot you a DM, and they'll on Instagram, and they'll say, "Hey, we want you to be a brand ambassador for whatever this company is that you've never heard of, right?" And if you're new to the industry and you get somebody reaching out to you you've never heard of, you have to be aware that this may be a scam. And so here are some of the ways that you know that this may be a scam. So number one, if the DM is not from their main account, and I actually just saw this because they still send stuff to me because I don't really have a big Instagram account. It's like 30,000 followers. You compare that to Jake from Garage Gym Experiment. He's got over 200,000. Garage Gym Lab, I think, has maybe 500,000. Those are big accounts, right? I've only got like 30,000. Okay. 32,000, whatever it is. I haven't checked recently, but anyway, so I got a DM like this, and it said basically, hey, we love what you do, and we want to we want to partner with you, we want to collab with you, we want you to be an ambassador for our brand. Well, then they're sending this garbage to you, right? But it's from it's not from their main account. It's from a different account, and it says, hey, if you want to be in on this, send a DM to this other account that's got, that's sort of similar to the account that I'm DMing you from. And the reason that happens is they create these bot accounts, right? They'll create maybe 100 bot accounts with 100 different email addresses. And then basically Instagram will shut those accounts down as they get reported. But there's such a huge volume of them that they always have another account, another dummy email address that they can use to reach out to you. So if somebody DMs you and says they want you to be a brand ambassador and it's from XYZ company, but for XYZ company, but the Instagram account they're using is not from XYZ company, immediately back away quickly. All right. Another thing is, if a brand's reaching out to you, maybe you only get like 5 people commenting on your posts, right? And it's basically your close friend circle. And the brand is like, hey, we want you to be an ambassador. Why would they do that? I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but being a brand ambassador is basically you're part of their marketing team. Why would they want you to market their brand if you only get like 5 comments or likes per, when you post on Instagram, right? Like, why would they pay you to get 5 comments or 5 likes? Does that? I hope that makes sense. But why would they pay you for that? Like, logically, why would you do that? That doesn't make sense. And then never, ever, like Smokey said in Friday, never, ever work with a brand that asks you to buy their product up front. And they say, oh, well, we'll give you a discount code. You just buy the product, but we'll give you a discount code so it's free. Even if they give you the code for free, they may say, oh, well, you just got to pay for shipping. Do not do that. They are trying to get your information. That's how I keep on seeing my friends' Instagram accounts get hacked, because they'll get these notifications, or it'll be something that pulls at your heartstrings, because they'll look at your Instagram account or your TikTok and they see what you are motivated by. So maybe it's something to do with animal rescue or whatever. And so then they'll reach out to you, say, hey, we love what you do. We want you to help partner with us because we love animals too. We love puppies. And then you give them the information and boom, now they got you. And now they can create an account that will it spoofs your account, and then they get your friends. And so that's what I'm saying. Beware of this stuff. Don't let these brands, don't let these influencer scams get you. There is an article that actually goes into this a little bit more, and it's from outside my cubicle, and it's called Influencer Scams. I'm going to put it in the chat right here, and I also put the link in the video description. So that way you guys can can see it. Also, it looks like we're having an issue. Looks like we're having an issue with streaming on Facebook. So if you are on Facebook, well, I guess if you're on Facebook and you're seeing this, then the issue is cleared up. But for all the people who were on Facebook, it's completely out of my control. So I apologize if you were not able to get that. All right, so I'm gonna reach out to Jarvina and see if I can kind of track her down here. See here. Oh, my guy. All right. So this is one of the things that happens with a time zone difference. All right. So Jarvina is in Mountain Time, and so I'm waiting to hear from her. Seeing if I can get her to jump in here. Let me message her on Instagram so we can see if we can't get her in here for you guys. If I don't get in touch with her, then we'll just go ahead and we'll just reschedule her for another time. But before I do that, shout out to the West Coast. Good morning. It is 6 a.m. for you. We have been going since 6 a.m. Eastern time. I'm so glad to have you guys here. This is a way too early for a Friday podcast. And I am John Greaves III. I'm the founder of Garage Gym Life. This is a Garage Gym Life production. We get up early with you each and every Friday, get your weekend jump started. Before we get out of here, I want everybody post in the comments. Tell me what's on the menu for you today as far as your workout goes, because I want to make sure that we do not miss out on. I want to know what you guys are doing, because I want to know what to expect when you guys are posting on Instagram. Okay, so let's see here. So Jarvina says she's watching. Okay, so Jarvina, I need you to jump in. Come on in. Come on in. We're waiting on you. Just go ahead and join the studio. You can jump in right now. Yeah, so if I can learn how to type. So Jarvina says she's watching. That link I sent you, you need to just click on the link and you're gonna come in. You come into the studio. So go ahead and just jump in when you as soon as you can. All right. And then we'll add you to the program. I lost my train of thought completely. I know I was telling you guys something important, but I lost my train of thought. So we'll cover that up by doing this. Oh yeah. Okay. So I was telling you guys about what's coming up. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing another rowing row along deal, and that is I do these periodically, but basically it's a group rowing event, and this is going to be something for Xer, and it is essentially it's me rowing. But if you tune in to check it out, you will get a tour of the Xer. You'll get a tour of the Xer app. So Xer is a game app that is it makes rowing more interesting. Okay, and so here we go. So let's share that. So this is what my thumbnail looks like. And I'm going to be rowing tomorrow, probably rowing for about 30 minutes. But you guys will get to see like all these different video game environments. It just makes rowing a little bit more interesting, which is a big deal, especially if you're somebody like me who doesn't row because you love rowing. You row because you're trying to burn calories. So it's going to be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So if you guys want to check in and just watch the video, you obviously don't have to watch the full video, because I mean, who wants to watch me row for 30 minutes straight? I wouldn't watch that. But if you guys would do me a favor, just check in 10 a.m. tomorrow, which is Saturday, right here on Garage Gym Live YouTube channel. And or if you're watching from Facebook, 10 a.m. on YouTube, check me out and just give me some support. I would greatly appreciate that. So we're waiting for Jarvina to join us here. I know she's watching, so she's on Instagram. So I'm just waiting for her to jump in, and then we will add her to the chat. So Jarvina, I don't know if you've got. Yeah, I sent you the email. So let me make sure I sent you the link. But I'll tell you what. We won't even worry about that. I'm gonna send it to you right now on Instagram. So there you go. All right. So I just sent you the link again. All right, so just click on that link and you can jump right on in. All right, and that should take care of that. All right, you guys are getting to see how this works out when things slow down. Yeah, so just click on that link, Jarvina, and then I may have to walk her through some of the stuff when we first get started, but we'll go ahead and we'll get these questions going as soon as she joins. Let's go right here. Questions for Jarvina. Boom. All right, I'm ready to go. All set. Ready to go. Boom. Let's go. All right. See here. How many people? Let me check out my site and my analytics here. See how many of you guys are in here. Oh, yeah, look at this. The viewer activity is pretty good. All right. Appreciate all you guys who tune in with me, man. Always really enjoy having you guys here. It's a pleasure having you guys here. This is when the host has to start doing filler. But never fear, I am prepared. So I'm gonna go ahead and I got something else to talk about while I wait. So I said we didn't need to talk about this, and we really don't need to talk about it because it's kind of, to me, feels like it's okay, you're just catching up, okay? But apparently it shocks people in the mainstream media that people are ditching their gym memberships. The article was in the Independent. It was in the US version of the Independent, which is actually a UK-based newspaper and / website. And they said people are ditching their gym memberships to get fitness advice from TikTok. So Ricky Loftus, who's obviously not a home gym owner, reported in a story for the US Independent edition of the Independent that according to a recent report by Pure Gym, some 16% of people in the UK currently have a gym membership, but a quarter of them choose to only work out at home because gym memberships are too expensive. Imagine that. This is what I mean by this is not breaking news for us. We're in the home gym community. We already know how cool it is to work out at home. But what is fascinating to me is that one of the reasons people give is that they are intimidated by the gym. And even people who go to the gym, more than 54% of the people that they surveyed said they use YouTube for fitness advice. 40% of them get their fitness advice from Facebook. Another 37% use Instagram. And for Gen Z, which is you young people, they prefer getting fitness advice from TikTok. Now, of all the things that I imagine people using TikTok for, it is not fitness advice. That's just not. In fact, Jarvina is here, so we're going to ask her a question. I love catching people off guard, so we're just going to go ahead. Jarvina, how often have you TikTok for? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. How often have you gone to TikTok for fitness advice?
Never in my life.
Never in your life. Okay. Well, we'll just say that you're not in the target audience that says you use TikTok for advice. And I guess it's not really advice. It's more like, oh, you see somebody do a thing and they're like, oh, that looks like it's fun. Let me try it. Oh, that looks like a cool workout idea. Let me try it. And I wonder how many slip and fall accidents go to the ER every year from people seeing some workout idea on TikTok. They try it and then they hurt the dang self. I feel like the number is high, but that's just because I'm a skeptical person. Jarvina, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So the first thing we're going to do is I want you to edit your headline, all right? In fact, I'll do it for you. I wonder if I can do it. Yeah, I can edit your headline, all right? So we're going to go with hold on, J-A-Y, Routt.
Yep.
There you go. Boom. Bam. Because I want people to follow you on Instagram. Look at that. We're going to give you the big screen for that. Everybody, boom. Go follow Jarvina. Well, don't go right now, but follow her after this is over. Right. So let's jump into the questions because I know number one, I woke you up super early. And number two, you got other stuff to do besides talk to me. All right. Let's go with the first question I have for you. And that is, you started competing in Highland Games in 2015, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. How has the sport, I was talking about this a little bit earlier because I've got a 8-year-old little girl. How is the sport of Highland Games, we typically associate it with men, but how has the sport changed for women since you started competing in it?
It's gotten really huge. Demand is like open, not as far as like how many women are competing, but how many classes are available for us. So like before it was just like one. And before then, it was none. It was like, oh, you want to throw? Come jump in.
Well, hold on. Regardless of weight class, so it was just, oh, you're a woman. All of y'all compete against each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just like one open class. But now it's like we're split from age. I used to compete in the lightweight class, which is 150 and under. They have masters lightweight. So it's like you're over 40, but you're also under 155. Yeah. So we're pretty spoiled now.
So I saw, I've attended 2 Highland Games events. One was at the Arnold, which was interesting because it's indoors. And I actually interviewed Heidi. I forgot what her last name was at the time, but it's Heidi Norman now. And she's at Scottish_girl14, I think is her Instagram. Anyway, So she was saying that competing at the Arnold is a little bit different because with the Cambra, for example, you don't have to deal with the wind because it's indoors, and then the throwing is a little bit different. Have you competed at the Arnold before?
I have
I'm
not.
assuming you've not. Okay.
No, I've not.
Have you competed indoors at all, or is it always outdoors?
I've always competed outdoors.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
she was saying that one of the things for her, like the big thing for her, because she's competed outdoors and indoors, is that, yeah, like the wind. And you don't think about the wind being a factor because if it's a windy day, I mean, that Cambra is like way up there. So it's going to catch any kind of little, yeah, it's already unstable. And so the first event I saw, the first Highland Games I was at the Arnold. And then the second one was NASGA Legends. And so I got to see all these Masters athletes. That's where, I don't know if you know him, but I shared my color analyst. That's the title we'll give him. He was my color analyst, was Miles Wetzel, right? And Miles and I were talking. He had a bunch of stories from just how from his starting in the games. He talked about how he got started. He brought in Kent Durso. Somehow or other he talked Kent Durso, who hates social media, to come in and hanging out with us a little bit. So that's what I know about Highland Games. So some of the questions I'm asking you are from somebody who's seen a grand total of 2 games, okay? And I watched the heavies. That's my level of expertise, okay? So be gentle when you answer. Don't go crazy, all right? You set the world record for the 3rd furthest throw in women's history, and that was 28 pounds at 52 feet 1 inch. Do you still have the record?
I mean, I wouldn't call it a record because it's not like, the top record. It's just a 3rd furthest throw. But as far as like the heavyweight for
okay,
women,
hold on. Let's stop you right there. You say, it's not really a record. That's how you high level athletes are. It's not a record. I mean, it's only 3rd. All right. So let's tell you what 3rd means. There are only 2 human beings in history that have figured out a way to throw further than you.
Right.
You stand above every other human on the planet. Would you like for me to show you how many people that is? Because I can do it. Don't you tempt me. I will go, and I got Google right here. I will put it up on screen how many people are on Earth. Because so we take that number, subtract 2, and you better than everybody else in that number. You want to do it?
Right.
No? Okay. So that's what 3rd means. All right. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. So as far as like that mark, yeah, it still stands as the 3rd. Because I was joking with my friend and amazing 4-time world champion Megan McKee. She threw 52 in Costa Mesa last year, and we gotta jab at each other. And I was like, so technically, I'm still further than you because that inch.
Oh yeah,
I got you by an inch still.
It's like when you guys say, "Well, you had the height," but
right.
Like, I told you. Miles gave me some phrases. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one that just that's
you had the height.
Yeah.
I used to so while we were broadcasting it, people were coming by. He said, "Hey, you had the height." You just see their faces. They're like, "Oh, shut up! I don't want to hear that." So one thing that separates Highland Games from other strength sports is they're part of the entertainment. So we're used to people like you have to figure out how to convince people to go watch powerlifting and even strongman because it's such long days. Like, this just really isn't interesting. So typically when you go, you see even a world championship, the best of the best in powerlifting, and you look at the audience is comprised of other people who are competing. Right. They're just competing on a different day or whatever. And it's the coaches and maybe somebody's mom and their wife and their kids. That's it. That's who's there. Highland Games, you're at a Scottish festival, so you have people who have never competed who are watching you because you guys are part of the entertainment. Mm-hmm. Now, with that being said, though, you mentioned in a past interview that affects your invites because they want to invite, I almost said lifters, they want to invite throwers who are entertaining. Mm-hmm. So number one, does that affect you in terms of, I guess maybe like your draw as far as sponsorships? Because you're like, well, people think you're pretty exuberant. So does that affect your ability to get sponsorships if you're not invited to something because they're like, well, but that other person was coming off the top rope or whatever. And then the second thing is, does it come naturally to you to be what they call a showman and to kind of like get the crowd involved? Because people love watching you compete.
Oh, well, thanks. I didn't. I think I'm just like naturally hyped, because I love throwing so much, but also just I work really hard, and like people think that when I get excited after a throw or a PR or whatever, like I'm super hyped, and that part comes like naturally. Like I cannot control it. I cannot, keep that in. It's going to be shown. But then, the same time, I got to remember. I mean, the crowd usually, especially for height events, it's like we have a few feet and then there's a fence, and then the crowd is all just like eye contact, locked in, like watching you, attempt these massive throws. So you got to ham it up a little bit and get them involved. Plus, it just like surges the energy, so
Yes.
you're kind of feeding off of it and you need it. It's not golf. Like there's been times where the crowd is just like quiet. Either it's usually like early morning and they're getting a fill of stuff, and I'm just like, nah, you guys, like this isn't golf, like come on. Even though they're both Scottish sports, they usually like that little tidbit of history, but it's fun.
What's your go-to move to get the crowd hyped? Do you do the Hulk Hogan thing where you go like that, like whatever? What's your go-to move?
I don't know. It just comes. It's like one of these, kind of like the
like the raise the roof. Okay.
Yeah, like
okay.
On,
you stand like when you do something. Do you like the Ric Flair where you spread your arms out and just spin slowly, like behold how great I am? Because if you don't, you should start doing it.
I think it's more just I don't know, like, and I'm hella goofy. It's just like I just like keeping like the crowd in it and entertained, because most of the times, good or bad throws, they don't know. Like unless it's a height and you miss the height, it's like either cheering or just like, oh, they feel sorry for you. But it's so great either way. And like even with the misses, even with the bad throws, if you're entertaining, keep kind of like laugh it off, they still like receive it. So it's just awesome either way.
So Chad Wesley Smith, who created the Juggernaut method, most people know him as a powerlifter and as a coach, but he's actually got a background as a thrower. He didn't compete in Highland Games, but he was a thrower in high school and I believe in college. And he said that there's a point of diminishing returns as a thrower from your time in the weight room. He's like, you can get so strong. He said, you only need to be so strong in the weight room before it starts to actually be detrimental to your ability to throw. And when I interviewed Dan McKim a couple of years ago, he said much the same thing. Like you have to know how much is enough. So how do you balance your time lifting in your garage gym with time out there on the field, practicing your craft and getting better at throwing? How do you balance that mix, whether it's in season or off season?
I would say in off season, I don't worry too much. Like I'm going to stick to my program, usually 4 days out of the week lifting. In off season, I'm doing more of like drills. So I don't feel like I'm getting as beat up. And then, in season, same amount of days, but the volume is different. I'm not so focused on having like a big, heavy deadlift and, those kind of like static lifts. I'm not really focused on being the strongest in those. I'm staying focused on being explosive and keeping my mobility like up and in check. And if there are days where it's like tight and it's either, okay, workout as far as, hitting the weights, or if I'm going to go get some throws and get some reps in, those throws are going to be way more important than, getting reps in the garage gym.
Okay. Now this is also a little bit more fun to me. You said that one of the things that you did not know as a new thrower in Highland Games, because you competed in track and field when you were in high school, but one of the things you didn't know when you became a Highland Games athlete was you need to take food with you. You need to take lunch. You got to have your umbrella. Or I saw a lot of people at Legends with their pop-up canopies. What are some other things that people don't realize about competing in Highland Games? Not necessarily watching it, but and being an athlete who actually competes in the sport.
I would say comfort is everything, which is why like I have my gearbox and I have my umbrella. Like the sun is freaking draining. A lot of people like it's just funny, I guess, how I carry myself. My friends call me like, "Oh, you're bougie" when it comes to some things, because it'd be like, as soon as the
Well,
sun
you do
comes
have
out,
green fingernails right now, okay? So I'm just saying
this is from
you're trying to be a little
Phoenix. So
fancy. I'm just saying,
yeah,
okay.
this is from Phoenix. Like, this is my competition color, because when I'm throwing, people are paying attention to my hands, and it's
Okay.
you know,
Okay. All
that's
right.
part of the
I mean,
flash of entertaining the crowd.
okay. Okay.
Look good, feel good, throw good. That's my,
Oh, okay. That's
yeah,
a shout out to Deion Sanders.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, you thought I wouldn't get
hey,
that? All right.
from back in the day, though, as a
Oh,
kid, I
come
remember
on.
watching, like, but yeah,
Back in the day, you trying to make me feel old? I know I'm 50, but come on now.
no,
Come on.
I
I mean,
mean,
come on now. So when Deion Sanders was playing, I was like in my 20s.
oh
You're
dang,
like,
no,
oh,
I
that.
was like the kid, like wide-eyed at the screen watching him,
Well,
you
all
know,
right. It's the end of this interview. You can
so
go.
down that sideline. He was like, man, I could, yeah.
I think his quote was, "If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you
Mm-hmm.
play good, they pay good." And
Right.
he's right. To be honest with you,
He is.
now
Yeah.
you got me thinking about that dang dance he used to do, and I was like, why is this of all people to give a music video? Why is it him? All right, because it's not. That's not in his skill set. That's not in his toolbox.
He didn't
Okay.
like his, he didn't like the Deion T stepper.
Yeah, you don't know what I'm talking about. That weird dance he does. Like, what is going on right now? Oh my
He
god.
was just, for showing us that he was full on taking on his role as the Unk. Deion Sanders is now like, dang.
He did, because that was like his end zone dance, and then he turned the end zone dance into an entire, like, it was an entire rap video of this end zone dance. I was just like, I feel like I'm never getting that time back. And then his hair used to wear me out because he was like it, because he had a Jerry curl. I don't care what he said. He said it
That's why
looked
he
wet,
bald
but it would dry. It looked wet, but it would dry. I'm like, come on, man, please.
activator.
Yeah, come on, man. You one of the people who I met at Legends was Adrienne Wilson. She's cool people.
Oh,
And you mentioned that she's one of your inspirations.
yeah.
Are you, and you have a genuine love for competing. It comes across even in this interview, like your eyes light up whenever you're talking about the competition experience. But do you ever get negative? Do you ever get motivated by negative comments too? Like when somebody doesn't believe that you can do something, does that fire you up as well? Or are you more like, hey, I stick to the positive vibes and I don't even pay attention to negative stuff?
Listen, I am the youngest of 7, right? Like, I grew up
Okay.
surviving.
I withdraw the question.
Like, just, how siblings are, if but we're always very competitive. And me being the youngest, like, oh, you can't do this or that or whatever. Like, come on. When I decided to compete as a lightweight, it was my second full season in. And so I was probably sitting around 180, but it wasn't like a buff 180. It was like, oh, I got fluffy,
Yeah. I mean, well, you had kids by that time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. You're pretty much, you're the former track athlete and now you're like coming back out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah. All
And
right.
even after, track and field, I wasn't throwing. I was more so just lifting, just working out to work out, stay healthy in life. So when I dropped down to the lightweight class, a lot of those people were just, they went from saying I couldn't do it to quiet to clapping because, I broke records. I won a national title. And then, to come back around, I was like, all right, I think I did what, I came to do in the lightweight class. I want to start climbing to the top, like pass the A's, make it to the pro class. And I know it's going to take some time, but I'm going to do it. And I announced it, and I'll never forget a dude, he was like, oh, so you're going like up, you're going to have to compete. Like, and he started pointing out some of the pro women at the time. And I said, yeah. And he was like, oh man, like you're going to go from like being at the top to being at the bottom. And I was just like that. And so
I can see, like, just the look on your face right there. You're like, okay, go ahead, doubt me.
Yeah. And it was like, first of all, it put like a damper in my mood because we were literally competing in Scotland when I, was at that, transitioning point of going from like a lightweight to a pro, letting myself take up space, get stronger, get bigger. And so when he said that, I was just like, okay, noted. And that was, back in 2019. And so when I came back, 2020, it started, of course, lockdown. And then when I came back in 2022 with the encouragement of my husband, I was like, all right, it's go time. Like I've just been eating good and lifting in my garage. So, let's freaking go. Let's do it.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I
now
love that
I
phrase.
think-
Now I'm trying to get you to say it. I hope you remember this phrase because you said they went from, is it like they went from quiet, then they went to like, no, from caring to not caring, then to quiet, then to clapping?
I would say from like, shoot, no, I'm not even sure what I
I'm gonna have
said.
to rewind it because I heard it. I was like, that was a mic drop moment. You know what? I'm gonna turn that into a YouTube short. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna isolate it because no, I'm for real. Just the way you said it was like, yeah.
It was matter of fact. It was
from
just
this
like
to this
doubting, silence, clapping. I think that's what I said.
I love that.
Yeah.
There's as we wrap up here, there are a lot of scams. We were actually talking about this before you got on. I don't know if you heard it, but I was talking about there's a scam that kind of like comes back around periodically where people will be like, it preys on people who want to be an influencer. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I mean like, everybody likes free stuff, and somebody reaches out to you and says, hey, we want you to represent our brand as an ambassador or whatever. You're going to be flattered because it's like, oh, this person recognizes my hard work in this thing that I'm doing. Because you are actually a sponsored athlete, I want to pick your brain because I want you to kind of give some advice to people watching. So you are a Sport Kilt ambassador. Did they reach out to you or did you reach out to them? And where were you in your career when that relationship started?
It was kind of like a back and forth. So when you first get into Highland games and you're asking like, oh, where do I get a kilt? Like I would say 95% of the time people are going to say Sport Kilt. And at the time when I started, they were out of Long Beach and I'm in SoCal. So I actually
there's a huge Scottish population in Long Beach because that something about when I think Long Beach, I think Snoop Dogg. I don't think kilts. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying you can't crip walk in a kilt.
I was going to say, have you seen the video of him in Scotland? They had a pipe.
Yeah. Oh God, they were playing G thing. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm just saying, you never seen Crips and Bloods in kilts. You just ain't seen that, right? And I just in my head, Long Beach is now. Watch, there'll be like some meme video now. If there's a video of Crips and Bloods in kilts somewhere, go ahead, put it on Instagram and tag me. Tag at Garage Gym because I want to see it.
If there's not, we should make it.
Oh, it should happen. Yeah. Good. Oh my God. Anyway, I ain't trying to get nobody shot. Okay, but I'm just saying Long Beach and kilts just doesn't seem like it goes together. So how did they even end up there?
They're in Utah now. No,
oh yeah, they're like, yeah, we need to leave. It just doesn't seem like this is, you know what I mean? It's just the fit. Well, then again, you know what? Kilts are very comfortable. I've worn a kilt and I wore it. Well, we won't even get into all that.
I wore a kilt too, I mean, knowing what's behind it, because when I got into the games, I looked up everything. I wanted to be very respectful of of Scottish culture and everything. And the tartan, like each pattern is either a family or like my first one that I wore, it's a New World kilt, and it just represents like the US, Australia, and New Zealand, and there's like a few others, but it's like red, white, and blue, but the main pattern is like blue underneath.
Right. You wear a Marine Corps pattern one now, right?
Yeah. I wear the US Marine Corps, just to remind me, I was raised by a Marine, so it's a lot of people.
You can see I'm 100% in favor of that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We everywhere. Okay. Well, let me say, because like the thing, actually, I'll tell you a story. So when I was in Iraq, we were deployed outside Fallujah. We were getting ready to take the city. Marine Corps birthday hits, and one of the sergeants, had a kilt because he had already planned this out, and he played the bagpipes. So he had brought his bagpipes with him in all his. So we had a limited loadout. So he went without certain things so he could fit his bagpipes in there because he had this plan. And on the Marine Corps birthday, he pops out helmet, flak jacket, and his kilt
Wow.
and start playing the Marine Corps. Yeah, I'm telling you, I got chills even just thinking about it. Played the Marine Corps hymn, and then we started shooting at Fallujah. Right? I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So that's one of my favorite stories. And so he then became a fixture at every one of our Marine Corps balls for the unit from that point on. He'd pop out. And this happens all the time. You'll wear like your dress blues with the Marine Corps pattern kilts, and you'll have somebody who plays. So it's actually an accepted part of it's not like regulation, but it's accepted part of the dress blues uniform now. So yeah, what's it like being an ambassador though? Like, what are the things that, like, because it's a give and take. What do they expect you to do?
I think just be me.
I mean, do they expect you, like, do you just have to tag them when you post something? Like, that's what I mean. It's like, do you have to do anything?
No, I mean, I do tag them like in my posts, but we never like established any like, oh, you have to do this many posts or anything like that. It's just more so like they've always been supportive of me as an athlete, so I support them as a business. And even when I wasn't at a pro level and I was just coming up, I got an invite to Pleasanton, and it's 2 days. So I was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to, have a different kilt for the next day. So I reached out, and I'm, at the time, just coming up. It was only my third season. And they were like, yeah, like, which tartan do you want? And that's when I got my U.S. Marine tartan. And then after that, it's more like, hey, we have this event for the ladies pros, and like he'll send me like, shirts and just other stuff just to like support, especially the women's pro class.
100%. So what's your advice, given you how you got into it? What's your advice for anybody who's trying to get sponsored?
Just keep grinding. Just focus on what you're doing while you're doing it and not really worry about it. I guess it's more so I'm like, if you build it, they will come type of thing. Keep working. Don't settle for obvious, like I was listening before I hopped on, and you're saying how like, random brands like reach out to you because
it's horrible.
Yeah. And it's like, what does that have to do with my community? You know what I mean? Like,
I got one brand that's harassing me, and I do mean it's borderline harassment. It's not harassment, but I just see them all the time. They want me to it's garage lights. Okay, yeah, I get it. You want to put lights in your garage. I get it. Yeah, but I'm just like, it's not really. If I was excited about the idea, we'd be working together already, right? But the fact that I keep saying no, and yes, I've said no. Like, oh, well, how about now? I'm like, dude, leave me alone, man.
I'm just like, need to leave block. Goodbye.
I'm like, yeah, please find something else, find somebody else to bother,
Yeah.
It's just annoying. And the biggest thing that annoys me about it is because there are people out there who do get caught by them. And this may be a legitimate brand. I don't know. I'm just not interested in working with them. But I'm saying there are brands that are not legit, and that's how your account will get hacked. And then they catch your friends because your friends don't know your account's been hacked yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like somebody hacked one of my son's account, my youngest son's account, and he was in boot camp. So obviously he wasn't monitoring his account. He's in boot camp, right? So they hacked his account, and they start sending out requests to all the family asking for money. And he's like, yeah, I'm in the Marines now. Like, so the scammer is like, I'm in the Marines now, and I'm trapped at Camp Lejeune, which he's never been to. I'm trapped at Camp Lejeune, and I don't have enough money for food. So of course it's tugging on people's heartstrings, all because his account got hacked.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what kind of douche is that? You know what I mean? So that's the kind of stuff that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I want people to understand how to recognize a legitimate brand like Sport Kilts that's reaching out to work with you, and a brand that some fly-by-night, they said their village in Pakistan makes the finest sporting equipment or whatever. Like, don't trust them, okay? I'm sorry.
Right.
Just don't trust them.
And there's actually like a bunch of like, it looks like they provide like kilts or Scottish attire, and it's just like it's just random, Yeah. And I think they even like got somebody who is like kind of high up in the community, ordered a bunch of stuff. And so he was posting about it like, hey, this page is a scammer. And when I looked at it, I was like, well, duh, it is.
He like, oh, you just got. That's horrible.
Yeah, I was like, dang.
Oh,
Dang.
that's horrible.
Gotta be
Well,
careful.
Jarvina, I really appreciate you being here. I enjoyed this conversation. Please come on back again. I want to have more conversations with you.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
go ahead, let everybody know. I've got your Instagram going across the bottom of the screen and everything. But if anybody has questions about Highland Games or even how they can watch some of your competitions, go ahead and give them that information before you go.
Yeah, well, I am the vice president of SAAA, so we handle all of the events in SoCal, Costa Mesa, San Diego, Seaside, California. If you're interested or want to come out and have like a games out in sunny California, hit me up. Hit up SAAA. It's a Scottish American Athletic Association, and we'll get you connected to practice group and get you involved.
Awesome. All right. Well, like I said, I appreciate you being here. Sorry for the confusion in the beginning, but hey, this is the first one. I hope it was fun. And I look forward to having you back on soon. Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, you guys, once again, go ahead and make sure that you follow at @JRouttThrower on Instagram. I'm going to put the link to follow her in the description for this video. But that's going to be the show. Thanks, everybody, for riding with me, hanging out with me. And we are... I cannot tell you guys, the momentum is growing for this show, and that wouldn't be possible without you guys. So coming up next week, we got Don Giafardino from Addicts Clubs, Heather Graves from the nutrition app VitaBot's going to be joining the show. Plus, we're going to have your Friday dance party. We're going to have your home gym workout reactions and more. I'm John Greaves III. This was the Way Too Early for a Friday podcast. You guys have an outstanding weekend, and I'll see you later.